Blossom Festival is going to be happening over at the Memphis Botanic Garden this weekend. I think you're in good shape there, but we got to get past some rain opportunities as we head towards late Thursday into early Friday. So there will be some messiness there. But other than that, again, the weather pretty quiet for us for the weekend. Again, a small chance of a late day shower Sunday. I think the better rain chances move in here Monday of next week. But I will make a mention to give you a first alert. A broad scale system will have impacts on the Mid-South as we head towards Monday and Tuesday of next week. Not only bring us rain and storms, but maybe some heavy rainfall, maybe leading up to some localized flooding. So we'll be watching that closely. In the meantime, again, a fair amount of sunshine here today. A cold start, bitterly cold in some spots. We'll work our way up to near 60 degrees, upper 50s to near 60, near 70 tomorrow, mostly sunny. And again, the next rain chances moving into the fold late Thursday, heading into Friday.
That sounds great. I mean, everything looks fairly decent, especially for a spring-like forecast in the month of March. I'm curious, though, what you said after Monday. You mentioned heavy rain. Does that mean colder temperatures, too?
Actually, there will be a dip in temperature sometime mid next week, but we're not talking about off the charts here. We might get back down to the low 60s, lows in the 40s, but nothing to the point of freezing weather like we're seeing right now coming in our direction. Just nothing just dumping out of Canada at this point. So that's good news for the standpoint of our gardeners, our farmers who are trying to get things going here as we move into the growing season.
Okay, meteorologist Patrick Ellis there giving us the forecast. Patrick, we appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, another live look from our High Five camera in Midtown, 32 degrees, 706. We're back at 60 seconds. Okay, let's talk about healthy eating. Eating healthy, sometimes that can be kind of easy. Sometimes it's a little more difficult. And how can we sneak more, fruits and vegetables into our diet? The average American consumes about 2.7 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables a day. That's about half the amount that you should. In fact, research published in the journal Circulation found that eating 5 servings a day of fruits and vegetables will help you live longer and have a healthier life. So let's talk about ways to kind of sneak in the extra fruits and vegetables into our diet. I'm joined now by Quinay Johnson, a clinical dietitian at Regional One Health. She's joining us on the digital desk. Quinay, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about maybe some vegetables and some fruits out there that may be easier than others that can sneak into our diet. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Andrew. And thank you for getting my name right.
Awesome. I'm glad. So what do you think?
So I did a little research before going on to bring you a few options. Some of the things that I found that were easier to add into your diet is cauliflower, which is a great source of vitamin C raw, but cooked, it still gives fiber, which is great for your digestive health. And it also provides carotenoids, which research is showing that it can help protect you from cancer and heart disease. And a few other options are mushrooms, which I personally love, avocados, which is a great source of fat, and spinach, lentils, and tomatoes are just a few of the things that you can use in your diet.
I love that. I love all those that you mentioned. I mean, cauliflower is such a underrated vegetable out there. You can use it for so many different things, and we hear a lot. My wife is gluten free, so we can't have traditional pizza, but she has the cauliflower crust pizza, and it tastes amazing. So very good. Love mushrooms as well, of course. Why don't we go meal by meal here, and maybe some tricks to put more fruits and vegetables in for breakfast, and then for lunch, and then for dinner. What do you think?
Okay, we can start off with breakfast, which is one of my favorites. I often do personally egg bakes, which you can throw in those tomatoes, spinach, mushrooms, broccoli, and cauliflower as well. There's also breakfast breads, like your banana breads, that you can get a lot of fiber from the banana from, and it's also a fruit. You can throw in blueberries, strawberries. There are even fruit bakes where you can throw a plethora of different fruits into the bread and get to use them before they go bad, one, and two, it tastes wonderful. And then also you have your oatmeal that you can throw fresh fruit in, or oatmeal bakes. And I've actually seen some good recipes online for savory oatmeal where you add vegetables on top of your oatmeal as well. And then last but not least, we love smoothies. So you can throw in fruits, vegetables. I recommend doing a very flavorful fruit such as pineapple, and then throw in spinach so that you can get your greens. And if you want to get bang for your buck and get all three food groups, your carbs, protein, and fats, you throw in avocados as well. And that's a great way to get in fruits and vegetables in the morning.
I love that. I mean, I love cauliflower. Or I mentioned cauliflower, but I love avocado and banana bread. I mean, these are all really easy, basic ways that people can get it in. Tell me about lunch and dinner.
So, lunch, not too many people talk about pasta salads, but I think that is a great option because you can throw in your beans. You can have what we love, pasta. And if, like you were talking about your wife, you can throw in gluten-free pasta. There are plenty options. Bonza, which is a protein chickpea pasta, is something that I've seen on the shelves often. And also, I had the pleasure of working in a foods lab for my master's degree, and one of my classmates, her name's Annie, she made zucchini tots, which taste amazing. I honestly, it's a tit for tat between regular tater tots and zucchini tots, and it's really easy to make at home. And then the other thing that I had was, we talked about cauliflower. I see often that many vegans do cauliflower wings. And the key to it is you roast it and use the same seasonings that you would use on wings that you would buy in Memphis, like your seasoned, your honey hot. If you love ranch, use ranch, lemon pepper. The list goes on.
I love that. That sounds good. You're giving us an idea, creative ideas here, Quinay. What about dinner? I would think like salads, for sure, vegetables. I love having a salad almost every meal. What about fruits for dinner?
Fruits for dinner, that can serve as your dessert for dinner. Pair it with yogurt. I've seen yogurt barks where people throw in blueberries, raspberries, peaches, and lay it out on a baking dish and freeze it so that once you have dinner and once you're done and you want to, I'm trying to think of the word, soothe your craving, that's an option. Also, freezing the smoothies from breakfast that you have left over is a icicle since we're wrapping up on summer going into fall. And then also I'm trying to think, salads that you mentioned earlier are great ways to add fruits to dinner.
I like it. I like it. Let's talk about any other tips that you may have just to sneak in a little more fruits and vegetables. I was surprised to read that the average American consumes 2.7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day when we need more, I guess closer to 5.
Yes, and Andrew, I'm so glad you mentioned that statistic. You were on it. But another way that we can add in more vegetables specifically, I like to key in on mushrooms again because it's my favorite. But also, I've seen even in restaurants where they add mushrooms to meat mixtures. So, for example, your meatloaves, burgers, meatballs, dicing them up finely and making sure you cook a lot of the moisture out so that for the people that really don't care for mushrooms, they don't get the taste that kind of reminds them of mushrooms, but still get the benefits of the vitamins and minerals that are within mushrooms to be added to the meat and also give you that benefit of meeting your vegetable intake for the day is another great way to get in a vegetable. And also, I like using lettuce for buns for burgers, and stuffed bell peppers are another way of getting in more vegetables into the day.
It's so good. You're making me hungry here, Quine. I mean, these are all awesome, awesome ideas and suggestions. Really appreciate it. We have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the digital desk. So I know that everyone is really happy with a lot of these suggestions. Quine Johnson, clinical dietitian at Regional One Health. Thanks so very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing day.
Right now, I want to switch gears here because we are talking a lot about the financial markets, financial volatility, especially with inflation at sky-high numbers, the highest still in 40 years. And when it comes to retirement, are you prepared? Do you think you're prepared? Perhaps you don't think you're prepared. Well, Fidelity Investments tried to put out their first ever study, or tried to find out, I should say, when they put out this first ever study on the topic of whether you're prepared for retirement or not. Let's bring in Rita Asaf. She's Vice President of Retirement Products at Fidelity Investments to talk more about this study. Good morning, Rita. Tell us how Fidelity, what the study was and what did it reveal this morning? Thank you.
Morning. Thank you for having me. So Fidelity ran a retirement savings assessment study, and this is a study of all Americans. And it came up with a retirement score. So the retirement score is yellow right now to a score of 78. And what this means is that American savers are now projected to only have 78% of the income needed to cover expenses in retirement. And if you think about this, this is not surprising when you look at the past events from the last couple of years. You had the pandemic, market volatility, and right now just the news with the banking industry. So it's no surprise many people feel uneasy about their financial outlook. But there are two factors that drove the drop. First, people are investing more conservatively. Our study found that 60% of Americans are concerned that investing too aggressively can negatively impact their savings. And second, many people are saving less. Even though Americans have more money saved since 2020, the amount that many are regularly contributing has declined, with the biggest drop coming from millennials.
Okay, so how do we know, Rita, when we have enough money for retirement? I mean, what can we do to kind of, I know nothing's 100% safeguard from various issues, volatility, that sort of thing. How can we do our best to safeguard our retirement nest egg?
Well, you want to have a retirement plan or a goal. And in general, Fidelity has a rule of thumb to help you figure that out. So you want to try and save 10 times your income by age 67. Now, we totally understand this sounds intimidating, but this is why it's important to start early. And how do you get to that 10 times your income? Start by saving 15% of your income each year, which includes your company match if you have access to one. But this may seem like a lot. So just increasing contributions 1% each year to get to that 15% can make a big difference. And here's why we're saying that. Our study found that 50%, this is 50 of Americans, may be unable to afford just basic expenses in retirement, much less their retirement dreams. But it's never too late to start planning. In our experience, those with the retirement plan in place felt the greatest confidence and helped them sleep better at night when there were any sort of surprises that came up. And setting up a plan is much easier than you think. It just means setting up a goal for now for how much you should save regularly and which accounts to put those into.
So, Rita, we have thousands of people who watch us here on the Digital Desk, and they are people from various generations, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X. So how do you determine, regardless of age, what you need to save for retirement? Is there a breakdown based upon specific generations out there, for example?
Well, I would say overall, there are 3 tips to help you prepare for retirement. Obviously, there will be changes depending on how old you are, but let's just start with, the general guardrails, which is first, save as much as you can. And what we mean for that is that 15% of your income each year. Second, make your money work for you. You want to have the right investment mix of stocks, bonds, and cash based on how far you are from retirement and how comfortable you are with risk. And that investment mix will change as you get older. And lastly, you want to reevaluate your retirement plan. Waiting longer to retire does have its benefits because you can build saving longer and you can actually increase Social Security payments. But we know this isn't easy. So what we found is that some people are actually working part-time or even making money off of hobbies, and that can help them from tapping into their retirement savings earlier. And for those who can't do this, because we understand it's not an option for everyone, it might make more sense to evaluate how much you plan to spend in retirement, where you can make some cuts.
So, Rita, we understand there's, I think Fidelity has a retirement score available. How can we check that? What is the retirement score, first off, and how does that determine where we are in terms of retirement savings?
Sure. So Fidelity has several resources to help you get started, including this Fidelity Retirement Score. And the score is basically a measure of how much you'll be able to, your income will be able to provide for your expenses in retirement. So if you check the score, you can see where you stand and make changes to supercharge your retirement. So to get started, you can go to fidelity.com/score, and there are a number of resources there to help you.
Okay, so again, so many people watching us right now, and many of them might be thinking, okay, we've had a tough few years here. I've had to dip into savings. Where do I begin to really kind of set myself up for retirement? If you were to name like 3 things of where people can begin to really get that retirement score up, let's say, where would you recommend people start?
Look at your contributions. See how much you can actually contribute. And as you get older, you actually have access to contribute more. So those who are 50 or older can take advantage of what we call catch-up contributions, where they can contribute an extra $1,000 each year to an IRA. Second, and this actually helps with your retirement preparedness, that investment mix. You really want to be sure that you have the right investment mix, especially aligned to your time horizon, how far you are from retirement. Those are 2 that will immediately help you with your retirement readiness and are near-term steps that you can take now.
Okay, Rita Asaf, Vice President, Retirement Products at Fidelity Investments. We appreciate the conversation. It's a very important conversation to have, Rita. So thanks for joining us on the Digital Desk. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. You're taking a live look from our high five camera there in Midtown Memphis, where it is a chilly 30 degrees. 30 degrees right now, last day of winter, and boy, does it feel like it. We'll be talking more about the warm-up to expect later today and later this week, of course, with meteorologist Patrick Ellis. But right now, I want to go to a story that Sydney Hawkins followed earlier this morning. It was about this biomass plant in North Memphis that's getting a lot of pushback from neighbors.
Today, the Memphis City Council was expected to continue a discussion regarding a biomass company expanding their operation to a vacant lot in North Memphis. That item has been withdrawn from today's agenda. The company Memphis Urban Wood made the proposal last month. Leaders with the company are looking to reuse the vacant lot to recycle trees and turn them into lumber, wood compost, and biochar. That's a product similar to charcoal. They said the site would be free of any chemicals, but people living in that neighborhood were not convinced, taking their concerns to the Memphis City Council. We reached out to the company's leaders for their reaction to the measure being withdrawn, and they sent us a statement saying, quote, "We are currently reviewing our options to move forward with our plans at the site and are optimistic we will find a solution that makes sense for the whole community," end quote. Now, the agenda today does not say when and if the measure will be moved to future agendas within the Memphis City Council. Reporting in downtown Memphis, Sydney Hawkins, Action News 5.
All right, there is Sydney Hawkins' report as we take a live look from our downtown high five camera. The sun is up. It's going to warm us up later today. We'll be talking more about the forecast later on Action News 5. We're back in 60 seconds. I've been talking a lot about the total solar eclipse that's happening. It's just a few weeks now. It's less than a month. It's almost here. It's on April 8th, and this is going to be a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse that will pass through North America or cross through North America, U.S., Canada, Mexico. There's not going to be another one for 20 years until 2044. And right up the road in Jonesboro, Arkansas, you're going to be able to see a total eclipse, which is quite a spectacle. I'm joined now on the Action News 5 digital desk by David Barron. He is someone who is considered an eclipse expert. He's a writer. He also wrote a book about eclipses. He's an eclipse chaser, and he's seen a total of 8 total solar eclipses across the world. David, I appreciate you joining us on the digital desk. Tell me about this eclipse next week or next month, and why is it so unique from other eclipses out there? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first I need to emphasize a total solar eclipse is fundamentally different from other types of eclipses. You may have seen a lunar eclipse, which occurs at night when the full moon turns into a dark red ball in the sky. Very interesting. A partial solar eclipse, which happens every few years, is interesting. You need to look at it with special eclipse glasses like these, which you also should have for April 8th. And the sun turns into a crescent when the moon moves in front of it. That's very interesting. A total solar eclipse is fundamentally different. If you're in the path where it's total on April 8th, as soon as the moon completely covers the sun, it's like you're transported to another planet, because suddenly daylight plunges into twilight. And during the total eclipse, only during the total eclipse, you can take off the eclipse glasses and look in the sky at the sun with the naked eye. You'll see a sun you've never seen before. It's the most glorious thing in the heavens. It looks sort of like a crown or a wreath woven out of silvery thread. And you'll see the sun and the planets together. You are literally looking at the center of the solar system. And it's otherworldly and addictive, which is why I now travel the world to see them whenever I can.
I was going to ask, David, I mean, you've been to several different countries. Let's see, South America, Europe, Australia, Indonesia, all these different areas across the globe to chase, if you will, 8 total solar eclipses. Is it because of this phenomenon? I mean, you sell it well. Is there anything else that gives you this rush? I hear animals act very different.
Some animals do. Birds definitely do. So I would say now Memphis is not in the path of the total eclipse. You will see a 98% partial eclipse, which is quite interesting, but it's very different from the total eclipse. But even in the partial eclipse in Memphis, you'll see birds flying around confused, like it's suddenly dusk. You may see, particularly if you're in the path of the total eclipse in Arkansas or southeast Missouri, you may see bats come out in the middle of the day. During the summer, if it's a time when lightning bugs, when fireflies are seen, they may come out. So some animals definitely do act that way. But in terms of the human response, it's just completely surreal. It's like being in a sci-fi film. Probably, I would say, most of your viewers, when they step outside, they know what the sky is going to look like, right? We've all seen blue skies, and we've seen cloudy skies, and we've seen starry skies. This is a sky like no other sky. It really is like you're on another planet. So during the total eclipse, it will be a dark purple gray overhead as if it's twilight, while on the horizon, it'll be orange like sunset all around you, a 360-degree sunset. And again, you're looking at the sun's outer atmosphere, the solar corona, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. You can see the planets. You'll see some bright stars come out. It's just breathtakingly beautiful and completely surreal.
That sounds fantastic. Again, you sell it really well, David. I know that there are certain things we should do to prepare for the solar eclipse, one of which getting those glasses that you showed a moment ago. Anything else we should do? My understanding is Jonesboro, Arkansas, which is about an hour away drive time from Memphis, is in that totality path. How should we prepare for this?
Well, first of all, prepare for terrible traffic. Back in 2017, there was a total solar eclipse that crossed the country. You may recall, in fact, it went over Nashville. And that total eclipse, I live in Colorado. It went over Wyoming. So a lot of people from Denver went up to Wyoming. Wyoming had the worst traffic it has ever seen right after the eclipse in 2017, because like this year, the total eclipse that year was on a Monday. So a lot of people kind of trickled up to Wyoming over the long weekend. And then as soon as the total eclipse was over, they all got in their vehicles to come back. And what would normally be a 2 or 3 hour drive took 10 to 12 hours. So first of all, be prepared, particularly after the eclipse, for traffic. Be prepared for large crowds. Be self-sufficient. Make sure your car is filled up with gasoline. Bring food in the car. And if at all possible, get to the path where it's total early and leave late. And yeah, Jonesboro is in the path. It'll see a total eclipse of about 2.5 minutes, and that's pretty good. But if you go deeper into the path, it's longer. If you go all the way to Cape Girardeau, I think it's about 4 minutes there.
Wow, okay. What else can we tell our viewers? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk.
Well, you have to understand just how rare this is. Any given point on Earth sees a total eclipse about once every 400 years. There will not be a total eclipse going over my house in Boulder, Colorado until the year 2772. So you may have the sense that they're not that rare because one went over Tennessee just 7 years ago, and now one's going to go over your part of the country again. but there won't be another one in the contiguous 48 United States for another 20 years. This really is a very rare event. And so I know it sounds like a 98% partial eclipse, like you will get in Memphis, is almost as good as a total eclipse. And it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but it's not. It's a fundamentally different experience. Imagine you've got tickets to go see Taylor Swift. You get in your car and you drive 98% of the way there, and then you stop and you come home. That's the same thing. You will have missed the show, the really fun show, if you stay in Memphis. So I know people have jobs and kids in school. We all have obligations. This is such a rare and spectacular event. If at all possible, take the day off, take the kids out of school, make this an event, because it's something you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
I love it. Okay. Final question. Jonesboro, Cape Girardeau, approximately what time will it be a total eclipse? Any idea?
Yeah, about 2 in the afternoon. So
Okay.
even if you're in the path of the partial eclipse, it begins in the path of the total eclipse. It begins as a partial eclipse, and the partial eclipse will begin a little after 12:30 in the afternoon, and you'll very slowly see the moon cover the sun. And again, you must use the eclipse glasses when it's a partial eclipse. And then right around 2 p.m., that's when the moon covers the sun entirely. Daylight suddenly goes away. You're plunged into twilight. And for all of as much as 4 minutes, you can experience being in outer space, in essence, looking at a sky you've never seen. And I would encourage people to really go see it.
All right, David Baird, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on the digital desk and bringing it, selling it for us. Thanks so much for your time, David. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you have clear skies on April 8th. Thanks.
Me too. I'm with you. I'm ready for it. So thanks very much. Ask 1 in 4 adults grapple with mental illness, and that number goes from 1 to 3 adults if you just include the ages of 18 and 25. Treatment shockingly low, and more people are being linked to mental health disorders. They become more susceptible to substance abuse and vice versa. It is a painful web there that is constantly being woven each and every day, each and every month across this country. There is a new organization. It's called Live 3 999. It has emerged as a beacon of hope and a tribute to healing and a platform for change. I'm joined now by a couple of ladies here. Carmela Wallace. She is someone who founded Live 399, and Dr. Sherry Turner. She is the Chief Health Officer of Crisis Text Line. Ladies, good morning to you. I appreciate you joining us. First off, Carmela, tell me about founding this organization, Live 399, to honor your son Jared's memory. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. So I founded Live Free 999 to honor my son, Jared, also known as Juice WRLD, after his accidental overdose passing. So the point of the foundation is to normalize the conversation around mental health and substance dependency to provide resources and support programs that provide outlets and positive ways of addressing mental health, and also to let those know that they are not alone and encourage them not to suffer in silence.
Dr. Turner, over to you. I want to talk about how Live 3999 and the crisis text line aim to bridge the gap when it comes to treatment, especially among that window of adults ages 18 to 25, where mental health illness is shockingly high.
Right. We are in a youth mental health epidemic. So Crisis Text Line is really pleased to support Live Free 999 as we seek to decrease the stigma around mental illness and increase the awareness of Crisis Text Line as a resource, especially for youth between the ages of 18 and 25. We want to make sure that they know that Crisis Text Line is available for them. Crisis Text Line provides free 24/7 mental health support and crisis intervention solely on a text platform in English or in Spanish. So anyone can text LF999 to 741-741 and receive support from a live volunteer crisis counselor who's supervised by a mental health professional. And we like to say a crisis to you is a crisis to us. That's how we bridge the gap, because we're available equally, our volunteers, for someone who's struggling with their homework, with a relationship, with substance use, all the way to the point of feeling like they're having suicidal ideations.
So, Carmela, back over to you. How important is it for young Americans to talk about their mental health? I mean, you founded Live 3999, and I'm sure you come across an extraordinary amount of people. And what are you seeing on the front lines, so to speak?
I'm seeing people are starting to have the conversation. I'm seeing that mental health is more than just a passing statement, mental health is health, but people are actually engaging and looking for ways to do something about the crisis, the epidemic that's going on right now. And I think partnering with the Crisis Text Line allows us the opportunity to provide resources to some who may not have even had the resources to identify that, to help them through their struggles.
And Dr. Turner, over to you again. Let's talk about that crisis text line and the impact it has from your perspective. I mean, tell me what you see each and every day.
So young people are in need of assistance. Young people are dealing with depression and anxiety at rates that are far more than they were 10 years ago even. So what we want to provide is this confidential, anonymous support that they find helpful. And in fact, when we look at our surveys, 87% of our texters find that the conversation has been helpful, and 25% of them would not have anywhere else to turn. So they're finding that they're less stressed and less depressed and anxious at the end of those conversations. And we know we're reaching communities of color in particular, and LGBTQ plus communities.
So ladies, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. Perhaps, and I open this up to both of you, perhaps someone is watching, maybe they have a family member, a loved one, a friend out there that's struggling right now. What's the best way to reach out and get help?
So I would encourage them not to suffer in silence. They could do a number of things. They could go to livefree999.org.
Or they can text LF999 to 741-741, or find resources on our webpage, crisistextline.org.
Ladies, thank you so much for talking about this issue that's so prevalent and so important. Mental health, certainly top of mind for so many people out there. Thank you for all that you've done with Live Free 999 and the Crisis Text Line. We appreciate everything that you're doing. Thanks so very much. Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. We all know that age is just a number, right? But for millions of older Americans, particularly those in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, if you are looking for a job, the landscape is very difficult and very challenging. Not only are some of those candidates looking for a job, but they face age bias and discrimination. Older workers, of course, bring all kinds of expertise, maturity, perspective, yet they are often overlooked. Let's talk about this issue with Carly Rozowski. She is with AARP, joining us on the digital desk this morning. Carly, how bad is it for some of those older Americans in their 50s, 60s, and 70s if they need a job? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, many older workers 50 plus do feel that age discrimination can hurt their chances of getting a new job or advancing in their career. New AARP research shows that 64% of workers 50 and older feel and believe they've been discriminated against based on age in the workplace today.
You know, I hate to hear that because more and more people are living longer. They're living better lives, longer and healthier quality of life lives as well. You know, 50 now versus 50, 30, 40 years ago is a far different age bracket and how people are moving around and getting along and the kind of lifestyle they have. Do you have tips for maybe some of those job seekers of older Americans to kind of age-proof their resume?
Sure, we want older workers' resume to reflect the skills and experience they bring and not their age. So we recommend your resume is 2 pages or less. We make sure that the most relevant and recent experience is highlighted. And while you want to include your credentials, you don't have to include your graduation dates. Don't include your street address. And if you're hanging on to an old AOL or Hotmail email account, switch to a more modern service like Gmail. And one best practice that not only older job seekers, but job seekers of any age could benefit from is to bot-proof your resume. So organizations are using bots or these AI-powered tools to do an initial screening to eliminate candidates before they're even seen by an actual person. So in order to get past that initial screening, you want to use industry-specific terms or specific keywords from the job listings that you're interested in.
Do you have examples for us?
Well, terms like digital, terms like, and skills, good communications. Digital native is actually a term we stay away from because older workers tend to not feel that they could apply for a job that describes someone that they're looking for as digital native. But digital skills or skills that they've acquired throughout their career, like good communication, leadership, mentoring, some of those soft skills that older workers tend to bring to the job force are ones that you want to highlight.
Has there been a shift, Carly? Maybe more companies wanting to hire older workers out there? Are there certain initiatives that employers are putting in place for that? Tell me more.
Yeah, so here at AARP, we have an initiative called our Employer Pledge Program that recognizes older experienced workers. And thousands of organizations have signed the pledge since it started in 2012, with almost 500 signing just last year alone. And given employers' need for talent, especially in this tight labor market, it does make good business sense to hire experienced workers. Research also shows that 77% of all workers value their older colleagues for the skills and experience that they're bringing to the job.
That's great news. Great news to hear about that. Can we talk about networking for a lot of those older Americans looking for a job?
Yes, networking is key to a job search. So in conversations with friends or family members, coworkers or former coworkers, make sure to let them know that you're looking for new job opportunities and get their advice or their suggestions. Also, if you're not on LinkedIn, now's a good time to join. You can stand out to employers by making sure you include a profile photo and filling out the skills section. LinkedIn members that have 5 skills listed are 27 times more likely to be discovered by recruiters. They also have groups you can join that provide both virtual and in-person networking opportunities.
Tell me what the landscape is like for older Americans. I mean, I know you just mentioned that companies are hiring older folks here and there. Is it good for them? Is it a good market for them? I know we mentioned off the top that there's some age bias and some age discrimination for some of them out there.
Yeah, it's a very strong labor market and unemployment is at historic lows. But we did ask people over 50 earlier this year if they were looking to make a shift in their job in 2024, and about 14% said yes. And making more money was the main reason, but also wanting to feel valued and looking for more flexible work arrangements. 86% of them did feel confident that they could make a change in 2024. So I believe it's still a positive environment out there for job seekers.
This has been a great conversation, Carly. I appreciate it. Tell us about some free resources that AARP has for older Americans that are looking for work, that are looking for a new job.
Throughout the month of February, AARP is doing free virtual workshops. And you can register today for a day and time that works best for your schedule at aarp.org/jobsnational.
Okay, Carly Rozowski with AARP, we really appreciate the conversation with you and the tips for all those people looking for a job, 50s and beyond. Thanks so very much. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have you heard of Concord Academy? It is a school in East Memphis. They are actually celebrating 40 years in existence, and they do amazing things throughout the year. This is a school that helps children with disabilities, and they have a big event coming up later this month, the annual Blue Jean Ball on March 22nd. I want to bring in right now Robbie Lear. He is at Concord Academy, one of the organizers of the Blue Jean Ball. Joining us on the digital desk, Robbie, good morning to you. How are things at Concord?
They're going great right now. It's a little, I guess, dead over here right now. It's spring break. And apologies, I'm getting some feedback on this.
I hear that.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear a little bit of feedback. It might be another source that's also maybe on. Maybe you can mute that other source or something to that effect. But you look great. Tell us about Concord Academy first off. Some people might be hearing it for the very first time. Can you just briefly explain a little bit about the school over the last 4 decades?
Yeah, so about 40 years ago, there were a bunch of parents got together that were not very satisfied with the education that their students with learning differences were getting at different schools. So they came together and started Concord Academy, and we're a school that helps students with learning differences. And what that means is, we serve students middle school and high school that are on the autism spectrum, have learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, ADD, ADHD, and a number of other neurodiverse learning needs. And we prepare these students for not just success in the classroom, but we prepare them for lifelong success, whatever that success looks like. Which whatever that success is means a little something different to every student. But yeah, we are here to really champion all of our students.
That's fantastic. And you know, full disclosure, I've been a part of many 5Ks and various events at Concord Academy, helping you guys raise money for that amazing school that you have there, right on the corner of, I believe it's Mendenhall and Walnut Grove, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we've been here
Excellent.
for 40 years.
Excellent. So tell me about the annual Blue Jean Ball. This is coming up March 22nd.
Yeah, March 22nd at Esplanade Memphis in Cordova. It's our annual biggest fundraiser, and you know it's an evening. We have hundreds of live silent auction items, live music by some local favorites, Kevin and Bethany Page. We'll have dinner, drinks, dancing, revelry, a little bit of everything. It's a great night. And like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. We want to get as many people there as possible. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it.
Fantastic. So it's March 22nd, benefiting Concord Academy. Where is this event? Is it at the school?
It's at Esplanade Memphis, which is in Cordova, not just right off of Germantown Parkway.
Okay, and tell us about tickets and how people can get a ticket and support the school.
So if you want to go to concord-academy.org, you can find out more about the event. You can purchase tickets. If you'd like to, we still have some sponsorships available. We also, if you'd like to you're not able to attend, you'd like to donate to the event or, just Concord in general, you can do that there. And we are a registered 501c3. So, please, if you can, come support the school, whether that's being there, bidding on auction items, or you want to sponsor, you want to donate, every little bit helps.
What is that address again? Concord-academy.org?
Concord, CONCORD-academy.org.
Okay, fantastic. And again, for those people out there that may have missed the first part of your interview here because we had a little bit of audio issues, talk a little bit about Concord Academy, how it began, and what it does each and every day throughout the year.
Yeah, so sorry about the audio issues, but so for 40 years we've been helping students 6th grade through 12th grade with learning differences succeed and thrive. And I'm not sure if you heard this part, but the learning differences that we're talking about, we have about half of our students are on the autism spectrum. We have a number of different learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, ADD, ADHD, depression, a slew of neurodiverse learning needs. And in a small classroom sizes, we are able to really help these kids with, not just their academics, but with social, emotional learning, and just really setting them up to succeed, not just in the classroom, but beyond Concord, and set them up for success in life.
Well, you guys are doing yeoman's work over there. We appreciate what you and the staff do each and every day. How big are the classrooms in terms of students, I should say?
We generally have about 5 to 10 students per class. Again, we just try to be really hands-on, keep the classes as small as possible. But we're growing. This is our 40th anniversary, and we're really looking forward right now to the next 40 years and what that means. And that means hopefully expanding grades and getting as many students that need our help here as possible.
All right, Robbie, anything else before we let you go about the annual event, March 22nd, the Blue Jean Ball? Anything else you can talk about with regards to Concord?
No, I mean, come out, and this is such a big milestone for us, and our big 40th anniversary celebration is going to be at the Blue Jean Ball, and as the name kind of tells you, wear your favorite pair of blue jeans. If you want to, throw on a cowboy hat and some cowboy boots. But come on down, support the school. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, Robbie Lear with Concord Academy, concord-academy.org. Robbie, we appreciate it, and good luck at the ball March 22nd.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew.
At least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And the latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we can have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th and 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. And we go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees. Rain chances at a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plains states. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow. But still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday. Better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area, with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night. Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
There is a new survey out there that challenges and highlights the challenges that caregivers face. I want to bring in now to the Action News 5 digital desk a family therapist, a former caregiver, to really share some insight on ways to navigate these unseen struggles that happen so often. I'm joined now by Dr. Merle Griff. She is a family therapist, a former caregiver herself. Dr. Griff, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the digital desk. Can you talk a little bit more about this survey and some of the biggest challenges that you see family caregivers face? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. The OSCA survey on family caregivers showed that family caregivers are often very stressed. They're feeling very overburdened. They're often exhausted. But I think more importantly, the findings from the survey show that very often they have a financial impact. It impacts their jobs, their careers. They often have to cut back their hours. I've worked with families where the family caregivers actually had to stop working. And this has a very, very definite financial impact, with about 72% of family caregivers having to dip into the retirement funds or the personal savings. Very often, a large majority of them don't have the money to spend on necessities. And by necessities, we mean food and their own prescription medications.
Yeah, I'm a former caregiver myself. So is my wife. We lived with my father-in-law the last 5 years of his life. My father lives in a different state, but he has Alzheimer's, and so he has caregivers as well. What is the best advice you can give to caregivers out there? Because as you mentioned, you know, they feel so alone and they feel so stressed out and so anxious.
Well, thank you very much for caring for your family. It is very hard, and so thank you for doing that. I think that OSCA surveys clearly showed that family members want help, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And they look to help from other family members. And that can be in various ways. It could be actually going to the house to stay with someone for a period of time, to helping out with insurance papers or dealing with finances. It also means just maybe sending a meal, twice a month, or, sending a small gift of candy or TV. I'm sorry, but watching TV with someone. But the most important thing for family caregivers is they really have to refuel. You can't run on empty. And when you're not taking care of someone, when you are taking care of someone, then you really have to take care of yourself.
No question about it. So really quickly, I know we only have a few seconds left. Is there a place online where we can get information for people out there that are perhaps struggling or about to go through this process?
Yes, absolutely. I would highly recommend you go to OSCA-US.com. Lots of resources there for you.
Okay, Dr. Merle Griff, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing some insights and some expert advice. We appreciate it. Okay, Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk. Well, Easter is rapidly approaching. It's right around the corner. If you need help finding the perfect gift for the kids beyond, the chocolate bunnies and candies, we have you covered right now. I'm joined by Jennifer Lynch. She's a toy trends expert with the Toy Association. Jennifer, good morning to you. So what are some great gift options other than those very famous and very well-liked chocolate bunnies? Good morning.
You can't do without the chocolate bunnies, but toys are also a great option. I'm a big fan of Creative Play, and this one-count Scribble Scrubbies from Crayola are a really great option. They're $3.99 each, so great price point. They come in these little bags, and they include 2 washable markers and a scrub brush, so kids can color them, they can customize them, and then they can scrub and wash them off, give them a little bath, and you've got a clean slate, so they can start the process all over again. They've even got a new jumbo pet, so if you want to go a little bigger scale, you can do that too. Another great option, if you're still looking for the pet play, but a little bit of water play too, is the Hatchimals Alive. This is a brand new Make a Splash play set, which comes with 2 exclusive Hatchimals eggs. It's got 2 eggs inside. You're going to put them in the bathtub. It's going to turn the water a sparkly color. It's going to hatch your eggs, and you're going to reveal 2 twin hippos inside that are exclusive to this play set. You're not going to find them anywhere else. So a little bit of collectability there. $14.99 price point too, which I like.
Yeah, I was going to say, are there any collectible items that kids can really get excited about this holiday season?
Yeah, well, you cannot go wrong with looking to kids' favorite characters. And in front of me here, I've got the Thomas and Friends paint delivery set for little ones ages 3 and up. This is $24.99, and it comes with 1 motorized Thomas the Tank Engine who's going to go around this train track, which is equally fun to assemble together with your kids. And then once it hits this bridge, it's got a troublesome truck on the back that he's toting along, and it's going to knock the paint cans off, so engaging kids in a little imaginative play, bringing that world of Sodor, Isle of Sodor to life for fans. You can also use them with the other motorized trains that are also available. Stuff a few extra in the basket. Then Gabby's Dollhouse is a fan favorite for preschoolers. This new set is based off of the new season, which is going to be premiering on March 25th. We've got the perfect party bus. And as you can see, I've got it open here, but it starts out in party bus mode. You can drive it around, but then you open it up and you've got this epic DJ booth setting. We've got DJ Catnip. We've got Gabby inside. She's got her little party outfit on. They've got a birthday cake. They've got a Meow Amazing disco ball. The party is ready to happen, and that's $29.99.
You can't go wrong with a DJ Catnip, dollhouses, and trains. I mean, you're hitting all the spots, the very important spots, Jennifer. Okay, so many parents are concerned about screen time with their kids. What's something that will get those kids out of the house, or at least just out and moving around?
Yeah, so warmer weather, you need to get kids up, active, outdoors. I love this new one. This is from Razer. This is the Crazy Kart Shuffle. It's for little ones ages 4 and up, and it is a kid-powered go-kart. So with this one, they're actually just going to start shuffling their feet, and it's going to help them pick up speed. And once they get going, they can give that drift bar a pull, and they're going to start drifting just like they're on ice. Really fun for kids, but also great is that this one is going to grow with your kid. So investment, win-win. So it's got 5 different height settings, so you can adjust it as your kid grows. So it's not going to be easily outgrown. You're going to get a lot of use out of that one.
That sounds awesome. I love it. I love it. So you mentioned several of these toys. Where can people go online to check them out?
You can head over to thegeniusofplay.org for more information on all these items.
Okay, Jennifer Lynch, the Toy Association, we really appreciate your time this morning talking about all the toy trends out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, another live look from our high five camera there. Midtown Memphis. It is warming up ever so slightly, 33 degrees now. We're talking more in 60 seconds. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Got a big weekend here in Memphis in the Mid-South. Not only is the NCAA tournament and March Madness kicking off at FedEx Forum, we also have downtown at the Renaissance Convention Center, we got the Memphis International Auto Show. And joining me now on the Digital Desk to talk more about that, Brian Moody, Auto Trader Executive Editor, joining us on the Digital Desk. So, Brian, how is this Memphis International Auto Show going to be different from years past? It sounds amazing because every year is amazing. Good morning.
Right, good morning. And the way that these shows are different is, remember, this is not like an old car show where you see maybe the same thing every time. This is new every year, so we'll get to see lots of new and exciting cars that maybe either didn't exist or weren't around last year.
What I like about this and what I'm reading about it is that it's free admission. So you can go in and start looking around. Yeah. You don't need to pay anything. Tell us the mood of this auto show this year as compared to years past.
Well, one thing that's worth noting is that people who are going down there for fun and just to see cars, that's great. That's a good thing to do also. But if you're shopping for a car, you should know that there's a more inventory of new cars than in previous years. So if you see a car at the show, there's a higher likelihood that you can actually buy that car later. And one thing to note about this show, like you said, it's free, but also this isn't a selling environment. This isn't the kind of thing where you go there and make a deal and what can I do to get you in this car today? It's none of that. This is just browsing, looking, sitting inside, pressing all the buttons to see if it's right for you. So bring your stuff, bring your kids, bring the family, all that kind of thing. The goal is not to sell cars. The goal is just to shop.
Right, and I know that the latest trends will be on showcase there at the auto show. What else is going to be there? I see there's some family fun events, Easter egg hunts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the Easter eggs that we're referring to is actually Easter eggs inside the car. So there's these little things inside the cars that are hidden. And you can go and if you're going to buy one of those cars or you just like cars, there's little things that are hidden inside the cars. And we've talked about this in the past. It's a growing trend. Also, there's tons of exotic cars. So there will be some Lamborghinis, some Astons, some Ferraris, that kind of thing. In addition to, as you would expect, Ford and Toyota and Genesis and those types of things.
Now, I understand that there's a whole bunch of different cars in that realm of hybrid or EV. We see gas vehicles, and we see that they are more fuel efficient than ever. Tell me the differences between all these different hybrid type of cars that's going to be there.
Right. So we're starting to see some abbreviations come to the surface that might mean something to some consumers, maybe not. If you see HEV, that means it's a hybrid electric vehicle. And that vehicle generates its own electricity. You don't need to plug it in ever. If you see PHEV, that's a plug-in hybrid. And a plug-in hybrid is the kind of car where you plug it in, it runs on electricity only, just like an electric car, for a smaller period of time or a shorter distance than a fully electric car. So say if you had 30 miles worth of errands to do each day or commuting, your car will be working like an electric car. If you wanted to go on a longer trip, it switches over to the gas engine and you don't have to worry about charging it up on your trip. So that's PHEV. BEV stands for battery electric vehicle. And when you see BEV, that would be like a Tesla is a BEV. It's fully electric. It never gets its power from any place else. There are other BEVs to show. The Kia EV9 is a good example. Those types of cars only work on electricity. They never use gas, and you do have to find a place to charge it no matter how far you're going.
I think people are going to need a glossary or something to really kind of stay up to date on some of the acronyms and everything. What else? What else can we talk about with this auto show coming this weekend?
Well, one of the things that's great about these types of auto shows is that you get a chance to see cars that maybe you've only read about or you didn't get to see someplace else. For example, there's going to be a 2025 Ford Explorer. That'll be your first chance to go see that type of car. Also, Toyota will have a bunch of their TRD trucks. So those are the TRD Pro, actually. Those are the big off-road ready 4Runner, Tundra, Tacoma. So you can see all of these in one place, in addition to vehicles like Genesis, for example, is a relatively new luxury brand. Maybe you don't know that much about Genesis. Their cars are excellent. This is a place to go down there without much time commitment. You're going to be there already. Just walk over and look at the Genesis vehicles. And then on the other hand, if you just want to look at some things that you are never going to buy, you know, say a Maserati or an Alfa Romeo, but they're there and you can go look at them. And you can also ask questions. So I did say that there's no selling at the show. That doesn't mean that there's no people there. There will be people there to answer questions. So you can ask questions like, what is a 360 parking camera? What is lane departure warning? What is cross traffic alert? These are all technologies that have been relatively new. And we know that on the road today, the average person has about a 12-year-old car. A lot has changed in those 12 years, especially technology.
It sounds like it. Okay, so if someone's going down to the auto show this weekend, how should they prepare themselves?
If you're shopping, I would make sure if you have your phone, you can just take notes. If you're shopping, I would also bring your kids, bring a stroller, maybe even think about going out to your car that you drove there and bringing in a car seat, because how you attach that inside the car, how easy it is, that's going to be a deal maker or a deal breaker for some people. If you're going just for fun and you want to get cool pictures and stuff, get there early. That's always the best solution, is get there early, and then there's the fewest people. Earlier you get there.
Can we talk about ways people can get more information online, hours, that sort of thing?
Yeah, there's the show is open from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. And you can go online to the Memphis Auto Show. You can just search for Memphis Auto Show. And there's tons of information there about what cars are available. There's, you know, the hours are there. Like you said, it doesn't cost anything. So this just runs through the weekend. Some, you know, sometimes shows maybe go longer, but this one is just for the weekend. So once, you know, the weekend comes, that's kind of it. It's not going to be, you know, run into the next week. And then you can go watch your basketball game.
Fantastic. Brian Moody, Auto Trader, Executive Editor, joining us on the Digital Desk to talk about the Memphis International Auto Show coming to FedEx Forum this weekend. We really appreciate it, Brian. Thanks so much.
At least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And the latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we can have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th to 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. We go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees. Rain chances at a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plain States. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that it could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow, but still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday, better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area, with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night, Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas, and we in Memphis, we know we are a basketball town. That's why they call us Hoop City. We care about hoops. We love hoops. We know of no better sport than the sport of basketball. Well, joining me this morning on the Digital Desk, you have a treat this morning. We are talking with former NBA great Jamal Mashburn joining us on the Digital Desk. And Jamal is here to talk not only about his career, because we're going to be talking about his career, of course, but also about a very important campaign that is underway here with regards to colorectal cancer. Jamal, first off, good morning. What have you been up to the last few years? You know, we've seen you here and there. Of course, we remember your career, but first, just update our viewers on what you've been up to.
Having me, I really appreciate it. You know, I've been up to teaming up with Exact Sciences and Blue Hat Foundation to talk about people 45 years and older to get screened for colon cancer. It's a very important topic for me, and it hits close to home because my mom, she dealt with colon cancer when I played with the NBA in 2003 at the height of my NBA career when I was an NBA All-Star. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And if she would have got checked early and screened early, we probably wouldn't have jumped through as many medical obstacles as we had to. She was in remission for 18 years, and but I'm here to really chat about boxoutcoloncancer.com and spread the word and spread the message for people to get screened at 45 years and older.
Yeah, so Jamal, let me talk a little bit about that because I was, as I was prepping for this interview, I noticed that colon cancer is the nation's second leading cancer-related killer. That is amazing to me. because people think of breast cancer, they think of lung cancer, they
Yeah.
don't think of colon cancer as the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths. And this issue of 45 years and older, it's just been a few years ago that they bumped it back to 45 years. It used to be 50. Can you talk a little bit about the campaign, Box Out Colon Cancer campaign? I see the play on words with basketball.
Yeah, you can obviously see that. And also, it's the #1 cancer killer of men as well. And also, I learned in the African American community, we are more likely to develop and die from colon cancer as well. So it's important to get screened. As you mentioned, they reduced the age down to 45 from 50. And so that tells you that the importance of it. You don't just have to be 45 to get screened. You can be younger as well. And then also, if you're younger or older, it doesn't really matter. I think the conversation needs to be had about the disease and about how it impacts not only the patient, but also everybody around it, from the family members to the caregivers as well. So for me, it's near and dear to my heart, and anything that I can utilize as far as sharing my platform, bringing awareness to a topic, and especially one that hits so close to home with me.
I know early screening is so important, Jamal, for any cancer, especially this one. But unfortunately, and you and I both know this, right? We're around the same age, and that colon cancer screening test is a little bit, well, how should we say, maybe invasive? So a lot of people might be intimidated by that. What would you say to someone who's a little bit intimidated by the colon cancer screening?
Well, I think there are many options that they can go out and utilize. Probably check with your physician to find out the best screening option for them, and also go to boxoutcoloncancer.com to find out more information on the campaign. I would say the best thing that I would say is really go out and really not be afraid and really uncover what the unknown is. And it's better to have the information than not have the information. And the philosophy that I live by is, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones so that you can be around them in the future to create great, long-lasting memories. And this is something that is treatable and preventable if caught early. So I know there's fear around it, fear around the conversation, stress around it, but it's better to know than not know.
I agree with you 100%. Very well said, Jamal. What do you hope people take away from this conversation, from you getting out there and talking about this Box Out campaign? What do you hope people are left with?
Well, obviously we're in a time in March where everybody's concentrating on basketball and watching a lot of young men and women get out there in the court and really compete at a high level. And the first thing that I always say is you have to be available to play. So that's the same thing in life, be available. And if anybody can take anything away from this conversation, it's the personal nature of the conversation for me. Meaning my mother dealt with colon cancer, and my story in dealing with it, the emotional part, the mental part of it, and also the physical part of it, and watching my mother participate in the disease as well. So if I can utilize this platform to share information, and if one person over 45 gets screened, then that's near and dear to my heart, and I've accomplished something. So for me, it's just to get the awareness out, to continue the conversation, to open up dialogue, to be unafraid to talk about it, and to really think more than just about yourself. Think about others and the family members that you can impact as well.
Jamal Mashburn, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this new campaign with regards to colon cancer awareness. Before we let you go, can you just update our viewers, we have thousands of them this morning, about what you've been up to, maybe when the last time you picked up a basketball, and what are you doing around the sport?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's last time I picked up a basketball was actually, Monday? So I still play a little bit, I don't play any defense, just strictly offense from this standpoint. But I was out in Vegas this past weekend watching my son in the Mountain West tournament compete for the Mountain Western Tournament championship, which they won at the University of New Mexico. So he will actually be playing in Memphis as a New Mexico Lobo, playing against Clemson this coming Friday. So it's great to watch him play and compete in the NCAA tournament, watch his journey, one that I participated in many moons ago as a University of Kentucky Wildcat. So it's awfully special to watch him realize his dream, or part of his dream, of playing in an NCAA tournament. We're going to be a fantastic one, and looking forward to watching him play.
Former NBA great and current proud papa, Jamal Mashburn, joining us on the Digital Desk. Congratulations to you and an amazing career, and congratulations to your son as well. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk with this important message, Jamal. Take care of yourself.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. Appreciate you having me.
Okay, appreciate you. And there's another live look from our High Five camera. Downtown Memphis, 33 degrees. We're back at 60 seconds with your forecast. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. On Mondays, every other Monday, we talk with one of our favorite reporters, Sam Hardiman. He's at the Daily Memphian. He sent me a couple of articles that he's written recently. Two very, I guess you could say, popular topics. People are very familiar, maybe a little bit, maybe on the surface of these two topics. Sam, as always, appreciate you joining us here. Let's get into this one, this first one you sent me about the I-55 bridge construction and the deal with that. It sounds like right now there are some local leaders, both with Tennessee and Arkansas, that are trying to get federal funding for a new bridge. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And so when we're talking about a new bridge, we're talking about a replacement for the Interstate 55 bridge, which, as you know, watching WMC this morning has been noted, is closed for repairs right now. And so as it's getting repaired, it sort of dawned on me to ask the question, what is the timeline and what are we waiting on as a region to start replacing Interstate 55 and that bridge right there? Because that's the option. You know, there was a lot of talk of a third bridge right now that doesn't seem to be materializing. And what's happening right now is RDOT and TDOT, the two states' respective departments of transportation, are waiting on to see if the federal government, through what's called the Bridge Improvement Program, the Large Bridge Improvement Program, because there are two, is going to sign off this summer on $400 million, $397 million. That would really fund most of the replacement of the Interstate 55 bridge.
I'm curious a little bit, Sam, about this idea of replacing the I-55 bridge and not doing a third bridge altogether. You get into that component a little bit in your article. Can you just talk about this? Because when that I-40 bridge was shut down with that crack a couple of years ago, the big talk was adding a third bridge, but this idea and this proposal is just replacing one of the bridges.
Right. And so, yeah, right now, people are really feeling the impact of Interstate 55 bridge being closed. You know, I was at the golf course, Overton Park, yesterday, and a man who's teeing off in front of me was talking about how it had taken him almost an hour to get to Overton Park over from Arkansas, you know, and he lived right across, you know, the state line, essentially. And so it is a huge inconvenience when these bridges are out. But state governments and governments in general really have to worry about two things. They have to worry about when they're building a giant infrastructure project. They have to worry about first existing neighborhoods, right? And where are the people in the way of your project? And is it feasible to move them? Is it incredibly disruptive to move them? Is it discriminatory to move them? Then you also have to consider the animals, you know, the other creatures that inhabit this earth. We aren't just the only people here. Only animals here. And, you know, one of the key things for the new bridge is in the replacement of the bridge is it would disturb the least amount of habitat, according to studies from RDOT and TDOT. They've really done several detailed studies, and they found that this, essentially replacing, the I-55 bridge is the least disruptive to several species of bats, which are protected, etc. And it would also most likely be the least disruptive to existing neighborhoods.
So the according to your article, the replacement cost would be $787 million. Both TDOT and RDOT are trying to get about $400 million from the federal government. I don't see how this bridge can come to fruition without the help from the federal government. Do you?
I don't. And I think that's, a reason why we've seen local leaders, particularly Congressman Steve Cohen, really try to shepherd this project through. Cohen sits on the very valuable and important House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He's one of the relatively senior members, not the most senior member in the majority, but one of them. And he's had multiple meetings with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who, if people remember, was here back in the summer of 2021 to look at the giant crack in the Hernando de Soto Bridge. And Cohen's been really pushing for this project, as well as early on in his tenure, Memphis Mayor Paul Young met with Buttigieg in Washington, I think first couple of weeks of his term. And there were no asks made, according to city officials, but they definitely discussed the project and the importance of the city. Because if you're any sort of city politician or anyone who represents Memphis and Shelby County, there is a large benefit in right now. Two of the main thoroughfares over the Mississippi River in this region go through the city of Memphis. And that sort of cements the role of Memphis as a transportation and logistics hub. And it makes a lot of sense to replace a bridge here because you have 5 Class 1 railroads here. You have the Memphis, super hub with FedEx, and UPS also has a significant presence here. So it's really quite a shipping hub. And to replace that bridge, it would continue to make sure the viability of this place as a shipping hub and a regional economic engine continues.
And I would invite all of our viewers, we have thousands of them each and every morning watching us here, to go and check out Sam Hardiman's piece about this. It gets into further detail, including a deadline which could happen later this year. I want to move on to your second article that you gave to me and that you wrote, Sam. That is about the Shelby County Jail. Of course, this is across the political spectrum. Everyone agrees that there needs to be something done at the jail to make it a better facility, perhaps build a new one, renovate the old one. Something's got to be done. One of the proposals this legislative session was perhaps the idea of giving Shelby County voters the option to vote on whether to raise the sales tax, but that's now been shot down. Tell me more about that.
Right. So I was here 2 weeks ago and I was talking about this proposal, and Andrew, you very wisely noted that this was very unlikely. The idea of raising the sales tax rate in Shelby County through referendum 1% to 10.75% to pay for this new jail. You noted yourself it was super unlikely, and it turns out it was really unlikely. And I said it was a 3-legged parlay. It would have to pass the Tennessee General Assembly, it would have to pass the Shelby County Commission, and then it would have to pass the vote of the people. Well, it died on the first leg of the parlay. And it did not get out of the House subcommittee last week, where State Representative John Gillespie was bringing this deal, and the Senate version was sponsored bipartisanly by State Senator Ramash Akbari. And essentially in the House committee, a bipartisan group of Gillespie's peers really questioned the idea of, in a poor community such as Memphis, with a poverty rate like that it has, and Shelby County with a poverty rate like it has, raising taxes, sales taxes, which are taxes on consumption, to 10.75%. They saw that as regressive. And, one, Michael Hale from DeKalb County representative, he said, essentially, I can see people on fixed income, elderly folks and otherwise, having to choose between medicine and food. Sam McKenzie, who represented Knoxville, he was a Democrat. He said something very similar. He said, this is a regressive tax. And so it failed there. State Representative John Gillespie said to me in an interview last week that he wishes that his peers had given Shelby County the option to, make this decision and not killing it in the General Assembly, but they clearly did. It can't come back until next session. Gillespie says that Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner has asked him to bring it back next session. So this funding plan will return most likely next spring if Gillespie is reelected, which is not assured. He has a opponent in Jesse Huseth in State House District 87. But it certainly, for now, kills one plan for replacing this jail. And Alicia Lindsay, the CAO, the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, spoke before that House committee, and she essentially noted all of the negative press, and negative press meaning really people have died in the jail, the conditions in the jail, and she essentially talked about that it's going to get worse, and this is the way we have to pay for it right now. Obviously, that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be other options that seem to be viable, and you know, I hope that those are discussed, because when you explained it a couple weeks ago, Sam, that the like you said, three-leg parlay. I mean, this thing failed right away on that first leg. I just think there's got to be other options that have more of a success in getting past, don't you?
Maybe. I think we look at the Shelby County budget, we look at the Memphis budget, we look at all the options locally. We see, as we talked about last time, the issues with the Shelby County Clerk's Office and the lack of clarity as to the collections going on there, or at least, there was. It's difficult to see many options, right? And sales tax seems to be a option, and I'm looking for, and in my reporting, I'm going to try to find to see if there are other options, but both the city and the county don't have a tremendous amount of debt capacity. And that is an impact if you're trying to make a major infrastructure project, which we're talking about $500 million for a new jail back in the mid-2000s. That was an estimate. In today's dollars, that's around $800 million. Think about that. When was the last time there was an $800 million civic construction project in the city of Memphis or Shelby County? Long time ago, if there has ever been.
And just by comparison, that replacement cost for the I-55 bridge, $787 million. So that's the kind of package and the kind of cost we're talking about, where TDOT and RDOT are trying to get federal funding for a bridge that's going to cost roughly how much it would cost for a new jail. Crazy stuff there. If you care about Memphis and you really want to know what's going on, you need to read Sam Hardiman's articles at the Daily Memphian. He does such a great job, very thorough and widespread on all kinds of different topics relating to the city of Memphis and Shelby County. Sam, really appreciate our discussions every other week. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. Approximately 13 people die every day waiting for a kidney transplant, and an estimated 50,000 first responders are in need. Now, there is a nonprofit out there that is helping kidney recipients begin to help first responders in need of a kidney. I want to talk right now to the CEO of this nonprofit and talk about the issue when it comes to kidney recipients and how first responders are in need. I'm joined right now by Atul Agnihatri. He's joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk to talk more about the nonprofit Kidneys for Communities. Atul, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you.
Tell me about Kidney for Communities and how did it develop?
Well, I'm a kidney recipient myself. So, after I was lucky to find a kidney, I felt like, I needed to do something for others that are not as fortunate, which led to my engagement with Kidneys for Communities. Kidneys for Communities was formed in 2016. If you look at the historical data, 96% of people that have donated a kidney have donated one to someone that they either knew or have some sort of an identification with or have an affinity with. We studied where this emotion is the strongest and found that communities is where this kind of an emotion, this bond is the strongest. And by communities, I mean religious congregations, unions, college fraternities and sororities, uniformed officers, etc. So what we did is we devised this program called as Kidneys for Communities, which is founded on the principle of community-directed donation, meaning that we work with the communities to spread awareness about this disease. We talk about individuals in these communities that are suffering from kidney disease and are in need of immediate kidney to save their lives. And we allow individuals that step up from these communities to donate to save, the members to donate to anyone within that community.
So let me ask you this. So this is a nonprofit designed to help kidney recipients like yourself help first responders who are in need of a kidney. Is that right?
Yeah. We support quite a few communities. For example, we also support pediatric patients. We also support farm and ranchers across the country. But the need for, the extent of kidney disease within the first responders is pretty extensive. There's about 10,000 first responders that are currently on dialysis or immediate need of a kidney. And if you include their family members, you're looking at 40 to 50,000 individuals in such situation. And these are the people that, so we wanted to make sure that to such a large community, and also that we show appreciation for what they do for us. That is the genesis of our program for first responders. In fact, we had someone step in from the West Coast, from the East Coast, who had a law enforcement background and wanted to save the life of another first responder. So that led to our collaboration with NYPD and New York City PBA, and leading to a transplant of a police officer. And I'm happy to report the transplant went well, and she's back at her job.
That's fantastic. Something I'm reading from you and your organization is that an estimated 50,000 first responders are in need of a kidney transplant. Is that number, 50,000, are those first responders that are currently on the list right now for a kidney?
No, I think what that number means is, I believe about 10,000 first responders are on dialysis or suffering from ESRD, I would say. And many of them need a kidney transplant today. If you take that number and use the statistics across their entire, set of families and retired officers and stuff, you'll find that number to be significantly higher, somewhere in the 40 to 50,000 people in that community suffering from ESRD or end-stage renal disease.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Atul, this has been an interesting conversation. Tell us and tell our viewers, there's thousands of them that watch each and every morning here, where they can find information about Kidneys for Communities, your nonprofit, and how they can get involved.
Thank you for asking that question, because we have a lot of rich information on our website, www.kidneysforcommunities.org. An individual can go there and look at the stories of people that are suffering, understand the process of donation. I have to say that the studies have shown that people that have donated one kidney, every individual has two kidneys. The people that have donated one kidney, including my dad, have lived a happy, normal life after donation. So I would encourage them to go to our website, click on Be a Donor button, which would mean that we would send them an at-home test kit immediately. We'll keep the process confidential. We'll cover all their out-of-pocket costs, such as travel and expenses, loss of wages, or any costs that are related to their process of donating a kidney. And we will pair them up with an individual who has himself or herself donated a kidney in the past so that they can learn from their personal experience.
Atul Agnihatri, I appreciate you joining us here on the Digital Desk to talk about your nonprofit, kidneysforcommunities.org. We appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so very much.
Thank you for helping us out.
At least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we could have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th to 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. And we go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees. Rain chances at a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plain States. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that it could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow, but still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday. Better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area, with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night. Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. April is Global Child Nutrition Month. May is National Allergy Awareness Month, and that includes food allergies, and that's what we're talking about right now. Each year, about 75,000 infants in the U.S. are born with a cow milk allergy. It's the most common food allergy in infancy. And so in those cases, pediatricians, oftentimes they'll recommend a material elimination diet, which deals with breastfeeding. It deals with switching to maybe a hypoallergenic formula. Let's talk more about this allergy right now with Dr. Jenna Timbo, a pediatrician. She's going to answer some big questions when it comes to infants and babies and this cow milk allergy. Good morning, Dr. Timbo. Let's talk about this allergy. How common is it?
Yeah, so it is incredibly common. It's the most common food allergy in infants. It affects approximately 75,000 infants every year in the United States. So it's out there. We got to be aware of it.
Let me ask you this. What are the signs of it? You know, there's so many people that are having babies in my work environment, newsroom here. They're constantly having babies, and so I think that that's happening all over the country, of course, and I would think that they would want to know some of those first signs of an allergy like this.
Yeah, so some of the signs are fairly specific and maybe easier to recognize. For example, if you're starting to introduce foods to your baby or you're supplementing with regular formula and they have an allergic reaction like hives or something of that sort, that's a little bit easier to recognize. But there's also a lot of non-specific signs or symptoms to be aware of as well. Those could include just having a really fussy baby. Your baby might be labeled as having colic. They could have blood or mucus in the stools or have symptoms of reflux. They could maybe not be gaining weight as well as they should. And those are things to be aware of as other signs of cow milk allergy. My own daughter has a cow milk allergy that was diagnosed around 4.5 months old. And before her allergic reaction, she was absolutely miserable breastfeeding. She wouldn't sleep. She was so fussy. And throughout her diagnosis, we wound up stopping breastfeeding and changing her to a hypoallergenic formula. And it changed our lives. So if you have concerns about your baby's symptoms, definitely talk with your doctor. We're happy to help. And that's why I'm partnering with Nutricia to bring Pepticate to the United States. It's a hypoallergenic formula that's been available in Europe for 30 years, and now it's an option here as well.
Okay, let's talk about how breastfeeding is involved in all this and more about that hypoallergenic formula you just showed us.
Yeah, so The hypoallergenic formula basically takes a big cow milk protein and breaks it down into much smaller pieces. So it's called an extensively hydrolyzed formula. The protein's very small and it makes it difficult for the immune system to recognize as an allergy. So the babies then can drink it and tolerate it well without having an allergic reaction. One of the benefits of this formula in particular is that it contains lactose, which makes it taste better. So that's another issue that I went through with my own child is we were giving her multiple different options of formulas for babies with allergies, but she wouldn't take them because they tasted terrible. And so we felt stuck in that we were running out of options. So I'm really excited to have this as an option in the US.
How is breastfeeding involved in all this? I mean, do you recommend to some of your patients or patients' parents to breastfeed longer? How does it work?
It's really a case-by-case basis. So I would definitely recommend if you have questions, because that's a huge decision to make to potentially stop breastfeeding and change to a formula, definitely talk to your doctor because we can help guide you through that on if that's the right choice to make.
How can caregivers navigate the current baby formula shortage if their child is diagnosed with a milk allergy, doctor?
So thankfully, we're in a little bit better place now than we were in 2022 with the formula shortage, with the shelves being restocked. But if you're having trouble locating a formula or a hypoallergenic formula, definitely talk to your doctor because we can help give recommendations as far as where you could find it or what options you may have.
Okay, this is very interesting. I know we have thousands of people watching us each and every morning. I'm sure there's plenty of parents out there that are watching as well. If some parents want to get some more information about what we talked about here, cow milk allergy for infants, where can they go?
You can go to pepticate.com to learn more, or of course, talk to your doctor. We're happy to help.
All righty, Dr. Jenna Timbo, pediatrician, talking about this cow milk allergy, very common among infants. We appreciate the info, doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. It's time to check in with our friend Talisa Franklin from The Trend. She is joining us as she does each and every Tuesday to talk about the community, the culture, the conversation. You are amazing, Talisa. Good morning.
Good morning, and you are amazing. You are amazing. We all are amazing because we live right here in the blessed, amazing city called Memphis. So yes, it is an amazing time. Thank you, Andrew. As many of you all know or may not know, March is National Kidney Month. And so it is so imperative, you all, that we get the information we need to keep our kidneys healthy. And even shout out to the people that's having kidney challenges and to all the organizations and the doctors is working to keep people thriving and alive. So thank you. And so actually on this Saturday, I'm very excited to be at a kidney disease awareness brunch. And it's happening at the beautiful Mount Gilead, the Cathedral of El Shaddai Church. And I'm excited to be the speaker talking about that because I am honored to always talk about kidney disease in these many areas, because many people know that I have my Uncle Daddy, which he's just received a new kidney. And I'm always trying to tell everybody about the importance of organ and tissue donation. And so I'm excited on this Saturday. So if you're in the area, listen, Kidney Disease Awareness Brunch is happening on March 23rd at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. right there at the Mount Gilead, the Cathedral of El Shaddai Church. Shout out to ministry leader, Sister Guy, and the pastor of that great church that is allowing us to come in and talk about kidney disease and how we can actually be a donor, and more so how we can keep our kidneys healthy. And so I'm super excited about that. So if you know somebody that need a kidney, received a kidney, or was a donor family, tell them thank them, right? And just let them know that you're continuing to praying for their success. And then y'all, today is also a national holiday for me, because one of my dearest aunt, I call her my aunt, she's like a mother to me. It's her birthday. And today she turned 66 years young. And what's so special about this young lady is she's battling cancer, and she's fighting, y'all, and she's fighting and she's winning. And so I just want to say, happy birthday to my Auntie Josie for being an amazing aunt, amazing mother to me, and just being an amazing person. And you're showing us how you fight in the midst of adversity. And so if there's anybody else out there that is maybe being diagnosed with cancer or diagnosed with an illness, listen, looking at that young lady, she's a fighter. And just like she is, you are too. And you will win. You are amazing, even through this cancer battle, that the Lord has put an army of people around you that's going to love on you, that's nurturing you, and that's going to believe in you and believe, God, that you will get better. So happy birthday, my aunt. I love you to life. I really do. I just had to tell that. All right. And then y'all listen, y'all know Easter is right around the corner, right around the corner. And so y'all know I'm always doing this 3rd annual Easter extravaganza. So let me tell y'all, this extravaganza is, first of all, I want to thank Volunteer Memphis and Leadership Memphis for their support, their sponsorship of helping us present this. They saw the value. It's like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to help you support this, because this event is an event that we do in the North Memphis community at the Hollywood Community Center. Grateful for Memphis Parks for allowing us to use their facility. This event is an opportunity for us to show the community that we're all working together to do things together. So what will happen at that community Easter extravaganza? I am glad you asked. Let me tell you, we hide 10,000 Easter eggs. So with that being said, we need some volunteers. Yes, we need some volunteers. We need some volunteers to help us to stuff these eggs. We have plenty days next week that the volunteers are coming together to, as a community, help stuff these eggs. And so listen, if you know that you want to volunteer to be a part of that, listen, just go to Volunteer Memphis, see the link there for Talisa Franklin Ministries, and pick out what day you want to come and help us stuff those eggs. We'll be really, really happy for that, because the kids have such a great time. And not only do we make sure we do a 10,000 Easter egg hunt, we have great food, thanks to Monogram and so many of our other partners that has brought this thing together. Then we have inflatables for the kids, characters, face painting, pictures, community partners, vaccinations, prizes, and more. And the beauty of this, it's all absolutely free for our community. And so we also did not just forget about our children. We also have something for our seniors. So shout out to Aetna that came on as a partner to make sure we have a senior tent where the seniors, the grandmamas and the granddaddies that bring their kids to these festivities, they can have some great things, and they walk away with their Easter bags and all these other good goodies that's catered to them. And so we didn't forget about anybody, because this is truly a community event. Everybody is welcome. And listen, again, if you want to be a part of volunteering to serve for stuffing eggs or the day of the event, listen, just get on over to Volunteer Memphis and sign up. And then you get some volunteer hours. You may be the next volunteer of the year, right? And then if you want to donate and support this great cause, listen, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Listen, all you have to do is call our office at 901-213-6438, or just go to our website. Of course, my name, TalisaFranklin.com, because this event is always a great event. And thank you to all my friends that said, Talisa, we're jumping in, we're helping again. We're going to be a beacon of light in this community. So that's what we're doing. It's just a great time to love on somebody and to love on yourself, and more so love on our community, especially our children and our seniors. They are our precious collateral.
And we get spring started later today. So it's going to be warmer. It's going to be sunnier. We're going to have, a beautiful season ahead for everybody. It's just a great time to be in Memphis in the Mid-South. Great weather, great people, great events that you highlighted. I love it, Talisa. And we have you every Tuesday on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Okay, another live look from our High Five camera there in downtown Memphis. Gorgeous, gorgeous shot there of the bridge. 40 degrees. We're talking about your forecast in 60 seconds. Did you know that any time throughout the year there are about 4,000 Mid-Southerners waiting for an organ donation? And April is Donate Life Month. Mid-South Transplant Foundation has been talking a lot with us about donations and organ transplants, the waiting list, Blue and Green Day in the Mid-South. That was back on April 14th. And I want to bring on right now Richard Edmondson. He is a heart recipient, lives out in Covington. And he joins us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk to talk more about his story and ways that we can all think about organ donation this time of year. Richard, I appreciate you joining us. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've had a heart transplant in 2016. I was dead for 30 minutes. And they shot me 17 times to get me back. And as people thought I wasn't gonna make it, and I did. And I'm here for a reason to share with people about how important it is to be an organ donor. Because it hadn't been for an organ donor, I would not be here today. And another thing we'd like to go ahead.
I was just going to say, how long were you on the waiting list? I know some people are on there for a year or longer. How long were you on there?
Oh, about 3 months. I was in the hospital for 3 months. And of course, it has the blue blood type. I had mine was A positive, so that's a good blood type to have when you're looking at organ transplant.
When was the transplant, and tell me how you're feeling now?
It was back on May 31st, 2016. It was exactly a year later because I had my Widowmaker heart attack on May 31st, 2015. So that was something extraordinary. And right now I'm doing pretty good. I have to watch everything and go to my transplant doctors regularly.
Wow. Well, what a story, Richard, and congratulations to you, and so glad you are here with us talking about this story. When you talk with people, because I know that my understanding is that you have been an ambassador with the Mid-South Transplant Foundation. When you talk to people about your story and with regards to organ donation, what do you say?
I just let them know how important it is, how many lives they can save. One person can save 8 lives. And then you got to get the word out there and let people know about it. Because before my heart attack, I did not know much about being an organ donor. And now you can save a lot of lives. And there's a lot of people out there waiting for transplants.
Do you know much about who donated the organ to you, the heart?
Yeah, he was. I got to meet the family. Derek Long was his name. He was 36 years old, and he got hit by a car. It was over in Arkansas, but their family, their daughter, wanted him to be an organ donor, and that's how it became about me getting his heart.
Wow, and so you met the family, and tell me about that event. What was that like?
That was a special event. We had it down at Baptist East. They had a special time when I think it was about, I'm not sure how many families was there, meeting each other, and it's very I don't know the exact word. It's
emotional.
I'm very emotional. We got to see the other family, got to talk with them. So we're still in contact with them, or on Facebook. I contact them, and we talk all the time now. They're part of the family. When you become an organ donor and you're able to meet them, they're part of your life now, and that's wonderful.
Do you ever, a lot of times when people get an organ donated to them, they have dreams, very vivid dreams sometimes about all kinds of things, including the organ donor. Have you had any dreams?
No, I really didn't have any dreams. I had a lot of memory loss in my case. So I don't have dreams about anything. I don't remember anything that went on.
I guess the best way that people can support organ donation in the Mid-South Transplant Foundation, Richard, is to just be an organ donor themselves, right?
Correct. We want to get the word out there to everybody to become an organ donor and save somebody's life. It's very special. You'll never know when you'll need it, and you touch a lot of people.
No question about it. What's the website where people can go and get some more information on that?
You can go to Mid-South transplantorganization.org.
MSTF.org? Is that what we're talking about? Mid-South Transplant Foundation?
Foundation.org.
Okay. All right.
You can get information at all the clerk's office, the driver's license centers. We put out pamphlets out there of how many people's needing organ transplants and how you can sign up to be an organ donor.
All right, Richard Edmondson, we appreciate you sharing with us your story about being a heart recipient, and congratulations to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and all the best in the upcoming days, months, and years ahead.
All right. Thank you very much.
at least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we can have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th, the 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. We go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees. Rain chances at a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plain States. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that it could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow, but still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday, better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night, Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. College AP courses, or AP courses maybe gets your kid ready for college. And it's a great way to learn about instruction. It also is a great way to get that college credit while in high school. And so many kids take advantage of those options, and it helps them prepare as they get ready for college, no matter where it is. Let's talk a little bit more about AP courses and the best ways to kind of find the best one for your child. I'm joined by Terry Redican. He is the Vice President of the College Board to talk to us more about this, joining us on the digital desk. Terry, good morning. Let's talk about those AP level courses and why they are so beneficial to those high school students out there. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Andrew. You know, AP courses, they prepare students for success in college and beyond. Students who succeed on AP exams earn college credit. It allows them to skip introductory courses in college, saving them time and money. And our research shows that students who take AP earn higher college GPAs and are more likely to graduate on time, helping them stand out on their college applications. And there's new research out there that shows students who don't quite score high enough to skip that introductory college course can still benefit. You see, regardless of the score they get on the AP exam, those students are more likely to succeed in introductory college courses once they land on campus.
So let me ask you this, Terry, because my kids are both in college right now, and they took AP courses, but they also knew fellow students that would just, you know, have their entire schedule in high school full of AP courses. So my question to you is, what's the best way to determine which AP courses your student should take, and how many should you take?
That's a great question. You know, it depends on what's right for you, but some students might want to take a lot of courses, but there's no need. Those benefits that we talked about earlier present themselves with one AP course, maybe two AP courses, so you don't need to load up your schedule to get those benefits we talked about. And to help figure out which courses might be a good fit, we have a free online tool called AP Potential. Students can access it from their SAT or their PSAT score report. And on that, in the AP Potential, you see a list of AP courses where you have an increased potential for success based on specific strengths you showed in either your SAT or your PSAT. So you can use that report, sit down with a parent or a counselor, and from that list, you can sort of select what's most interesting to you.
You know, a lot of times people will, and students, parents, they'll pick an AP course for their child based upon the teacher sometimes. Obviously, the subject, it plays a factor as well. What about someone who has, perhaps never taken an AP course before? Where do they begin?
Oh, well, among the 39 AP courses, there are some that stand out maybe as really, really strong sort of entry points into AP. The first one that comes to mind is AP Computer Science Principles. Now, if you heard computer science and you say, not for me, please keep listening. Think again. This is a course, a computer science principles course for everyone. It covers the foundations of computer science. You don't have to have any coding experience whatsoever to take this course. You can start to learn it there. Students love learning how to build an app. So that's one that jumps out as a great entry point. I'll mention one other. I'll mention AP Seminar. AP Seminar is a skills-based course. You work on college-level skills like critical thinking, communication, collaboration. It's not connected to any one subject in school. It sort of crosses them all. And students love it because a lot of the assignments in there, you pick topics of interest to you and you demonstrate the skills you're learning, those college-level skills that are so valuable and colleges are looking for.
Let me ask you this, Terry, because I'm just basically going upon what my kids went through, and hopefully this will help our audience. We have thousands of people watching, by the way. Dual enrollment. What is your take on that? Because my kids took classes that they took AP courses, but they also took dual enrollment classes, which they felt were a little bit more manageable, I guess you could say. They weren't as rigorous as AP, but certainly they were college-level courses that they could adapt to in high school. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have kids of my own, so I can completely understand from from that perspective, in addition to just working to support the AP program. Students taking advanced coursework that helps them prepare for college, we support that in general, right? We are most familiar with talking about the benefits of AP courses. The credit for AP is very portable. One of the things about dual enrollment is lots of times that credit might transfer only in-state. And one of the benefits of AP is that credit, those credit policies are at universities all over the country. So that's one of the things. But any student really needs to find the right advanced coursework for them, and I would encourage students to do what they feel most comfortable doing to prepare for their college.
Do you have any resources online, Terry, that maybe parents and some students can look into with regards to AP courses, all kinds of college level courses, that sort of thing?
Yes, we've got a few free online resources. I'll mention AP Classroom. Teachers have access to that. They can use it in the classroom. It's an online tool. It has instructional supports and resources, lessons, practice resources for every unit in every AP course. So some teachers will start using that right from the get-go throughout the school year, and students can use that along the way to chart their progress, as well as go back, to material they learned in the first semester, sort of reinforce some of that learning with AP exams coming up in May. There's another one I'll mention, AP Daily. AP Daily is a series of videos that are free, and they're instructional lessons provided by expert, longtime AP teachers. And so a lot of the younger AP teachers love using them, and students like using them to reinforce some of the lessons they could use a little extra support with.
All right, Terry Redican, we appreciate you joining us on the Digital Desk. Very helpful conversation for so many out there. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, another live look from our High Five camera there, Midtown Memphis, where it is a chilly 40 degrees. At 9:37, we'll be talking more about your forecast coming up right after this. Always trying to find the best optimal amount of sleep. How much should we get? The different circumstances in terms of ways to get the best sleep. Sometimes we had something earlier today that talked about how napping can be very beneficial. It can also be harmful depending on when you get that nap. We're going to be talking to a sleep scientist in any moment. In fact, I believe she is joining us right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Dr. Rebecca Robbins, sleep scientist at Brigham and Women's Hospital there. She is joining us to talk about ways to optimize our sleep so that we can live a best life in all facets, because we know, Dr. Robbins, that sleep is so important to our well-being. Where do we begin? Do we have kind of a benchmark of how many hours of sleep an adult should get and when we should go to sleep? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to join you from the Grand Wailea Resort in Maui to talk about sleep and some of the cool things I'm working with Hilton Hotels on to improve the guest sleep experience. So you hit the nail on the head. Millions of Americans struggle each and every night. About 1 in 3 adults struggle to either fall asleep or wake up and struggle to fall back asleep. We also have a problem of poor sleep quality in our country. Fewer than 3 in 10 adults report that their sleep is restorative. So for all of those reasons, a lot of challenges when it comes to sleep, and the contributing factors to those are multifactorial. It's our always on culture, our constant go, go, go. social media, so many deterrents to our ability to unplug and be restored. So I think in response to all of this, Hilton reported recently that the #1 reason that individuals are traveling in 2024 is to be restored. So I think we're kind of as a nation calling out for some of these tools and techniques.
So, Dr. Robbins, let me ask you: should we get 7 hours of sleep? Should that be the goal? Should we have a goal of more hours of sleep? And does it matter if we get like maybe 5.5 to 6 on one sleeping time period, and then maybe take a nap to eventually get 7 or 7.5? Where do you stand on that?
There are a couple components of sleep that make it restorative and rejuvenating. The first is duration. And for the vast majority of adults, you mentioned 7, but we actually need somewhere between 7 and some people really need closer to 9 hours to support their optimal daytime functioning. Where you are on that spectrum, there's a lot of individual difference. So you want to kind of find, if you sleep 7 hours, check in and see how you feel in the afternoon. If you get 8, see how you feel in the afternoon. When you're really able to tell me that I feel rested, then you probably hit your personal sleep number. But the proportion of people at the population level that really are sleeping less than 6 hours and do have a healthy, profile in terms of their body health, their brain health, are very few in number. So we really see the optimal health and well-being in that range of healthy duration from 7 to 9 hours. In a perfect world, we're also doing another really important thing, which is keeping our schedules consistent. The children in our population know this all too well, and they're the most well-rested in our society because they get enough sleep and they keep their sleep consistent. They have a bedtime, and mommy or daddy's voice gets quiet as they lead into the bedtime period. But we think as adults that we're somehow immune to those fundamental needs of routines and schedules. But they really are more important than ever for all of us.
Does it matter if we have 1 sleep session or 2?
Great question. So in a perfect world, we're hitting your number, and that's, again, somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. Now, making up for lost sleep can be done really, with naps. If you had a week, say, of sleep, just burning the candle, of sleep deprivation, burning the candle at both ends, then you might want to think about adding in some naps if you're able to in the afternoon. That's the best way to pay back lost sleep. Think of it maybe more as a Band-Aid, or maybe in a life stage. Early parents to newborns desperately need naps because of their frequent nighttime awakenings and just won't be able to get that consolidated amount of sleep. And there are also, sometimes career professional obligations start to flare, and you're at a time where maybe you're not able to meet that personal sleep need each and every night. Do try to get back on track as soon as possible. But when you're in the trenches with one of those scenarios, you can absolutely think about, again, paying back lost sleep with naps. 20 or fewer minutes is a good kind of approach if you're a little bit sleepy, and if you're really tired and really cutting sleep short, then you might want to try for a 90-minute nap, say on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon.
I've heard more people complain about daylight saving time and how it messes up their sleep schedule. And not only that, doctor, but also when people travel, they get all out of whack when it comes to sleep. How do we manage all that?
What we're talking about here are changes to our circadian rhythm, and those are hard because this internal circuitry doesn't move on a dime. So both for the transition to daylight saving time and when we're traveling and combating jet lag, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, use blue light to your advantage. So avoid blue emitting screens before bedtime and really kind of get outside into the natural sunlight. That's the strongest cue to our brain for when we should be tired and when we should be alert. So going into the sunlight in the morning stops the floodgates of melatonin, the sleep hormone in the brain, and allows us to be alert and awake. Then conversely, going into darkness allows melatonin to secrete. So sunlight exposure is critical. Emphasize the relaxation. Couple pages of a book, a shower.
I was just going to say, you froze there for a minute. We lost that last part. Can you say that again?
Oh no. So the second recommendation is to emphasize your wind down routine, the set of activities that you can ideally do at home that'll help you transition to daylight saving time. And if you're combating jet lag, and they're ideally activities that you can take with you when you travel. So a breathing exercise, a meditation ritual, and they don't have to be long. A couple minutes of breathing exercises can go a really long way, or a warm shower, a couple pages in a book. Really emphasize those relaxation rituals in this week after the daylight saving time transition, and that could also be really beneficial when you travel. Now, lastly, for travelers, do look into hotels that are making your sleep a priority. I'm partnering with Hilton to, as their sleep expert, to help them draw more attention to the guest sleep experience. And we're working on some really exciting sleep retreats for travelers. And here at the Grand Wailea, it's going to be the kickoff for this exciting new set of services for travelers. So guests can come and participate in lectures with me on sleep science and circadian rhythms, and really learn a bunch of tools to support their sleep when they go back home, and enjoy the beautiful spa here with sleep promoting massages and meditation, et cetera. Again, with the goal of going home equipped with the resources that will allow you to make sleep a priority.
What about supplements? Where do you stand on melatonin, valerian root, some others out there, that are over the counter? And, because there are some people that have difficult times not only falling asleep, but staying asleep too.
Mm-hmm. So sleep aids are widely used. If you walk into any drugstore, you see shelves upon shelves of these elixirs, tablets offering the promise of a good night's sleep. If you think about it, it's really the holy grail, because sleep is a little bit of a different health behavior than an exercise or nutrition. Because even if you set yourself up for success, there will be nights when you struggle, just because sleep can't be perfect every night, because it's a function of our stress levels that we have, what we do during the day. So keep that in mind, but do also know that the first line of defense are the healthy sleep strategies that we've talked about: hitting your nightly need, keeping your schedules consistent, winding down and relaxing. All of those things, using blue light to your advantage, are kind of the old school, but time-tested strategies that we can all benefit from. And these aren't sweeping huge changes in many ways. It's getting off screens, cultivating these relaxation rituals and the relaxation response. So that's the front line. But if you're struggling, there can be a very important time and place for certain supplements, or melatonin, for instance, is of course the sleep hormone that is secreted in the brain when we go into a cool, dark environment. And then the cessation of the flow of melatonin in the morning when we go into the sunshine is how we're able to start our day. So melatonin supplementation is increasingly common. A quick note that we just don't know its long-term implications. So always talk to your medical provider. And again, if you're kind of using aids, whether they're pharmacological in nature or over the counter, always talk to your doctor. But generally speaking, try to wean yourself off slowly but surely, and move towards some of these behavioral tips and strategies.
This has been a great conversation, Doctor. Anything else we can touch on before we let you go?
Well, information about these sleep tips and the sleep retreats for Hilton and here at the Grand Wailea are all available on their website at grandwailea.com.
All right, Dr. Rebecca Robbins, we appreciate you and offering up the best ways to optimize our sleep. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Did you know that more than 16 million Americans are diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, known as ADHD? It ranges from children, teens to adults, and Right now, there is a nationwide shortage of the medications used to treat ADHD. In fact, the FDA announced the shortage back in October, blaming manufacturing delays. But there are researchers and experts that say the shortage is more about an increase in demand. ADHD diagnoses have spiked significantly during the pandemic. Let's bring in someone to talk more about this issue. I'm joined now by Dr. Greg Mattingly, the Associate Clinical Professor of Washington University, physician as well. Good morning, doctor. Let's talk about, first off, I know what ADHD is, but for our audience and viewers, can you talk a little bit in layman's terms about what ADHD is and how common it has become? Good morning.
Good morning. So ADHD, is probably many of your listeners know, it's a common condition. Matter of fact, it's the most common neurologic condition in all of childhood, not just here in the United States, but all around the world. So here in the United States, but if I went to Canada, if I went to Europe, if I went over to Asia, it's 8 to 10% of kids meet criteria for ADHD. So it's a common condition. And one of the things that we have learned over the last 20 years is for most kids, it's not going to go away. If this is the way you're wired, 80 to 90% of kids are going to have that as they become teenagers, as they go off to university, as they start that first job, and as they become adults. Common symptoms are I get distracted, it's hard to focus, I get bored, and when I get bored, then everything kind of accelerates and I find myself getting frustrated. Maybe I get fidgety and restless. Maybe I blurt things out and I interrupt other people around me. So problems with disorganization, time management, frustration tolerance because of those things for our patients with ADHD.
You know, doctor, I have some family members that have ADHD, and it seems to affect them in different ways. And there is a difference, right? I mean, the symptoms are different for men and women, boys and girls, all across the spectrum.
100%. And that's why the answers are not going to be one size fit all answers either. So some people have ADHD and they have a lot of the hyperactivity when they're kids. Other people, it's a lot of disorganization. It's hard to concentrate. I get overwhelmed by things. I have a lot of anxiety because of that, and I get frustrated. Some of them have a hard time shutting their brain off at night. Falling asleep at night because my brain is still going can be a frustration for some of our patients with ADHD. And then some of our adults with ADHD can be problems around my temper. I get frustrated, I tend to blow. So how do you learn to modulate that as one of your symptoms that's a result of having ADHD?
So you are the president-elect of the American Professional Society of ADHD-related disorders. Can you talk about how ADHD is typically treated these days? I know everyone has the idea of medication, and there's different medications, right?
100%. So if there's good news for your listeners out there is we have a lot of different options. When I was first in practice 30 years ago, our options were just short-acting stimulants, and you had to take them multiple times a day. And a lot of people didn't like the side effects. They didn't like the way they felt when those things kind of kicked in and wore off. And we know those medicines, being short-acting Ritalin or Adderall, they can be misused or abused sometimes by people that are doing the wrong things. A lot of our newer treatment options are once daily medicines. You take them once a day, and they give you very low levels of medicine, just enough to help to improve your symptoms, but not so much that you're having as many of the unwanted side effects. So we have over 30 different treatment options right now that are approved for children with ADHD. A lot of those are also approved for adults. And we have 4 non-stimulants that are approved for ADHD, 2 of those that are approved for adults, atomoxetine and Qelbree. So it's not even always a stimulant option, and it's certainly not always a short-acting stimulant that you have to take multiple times a day.
Do patients grow out of this? I've always heard that, you know, by the time, if someone in their teenage years, for example, is diagnosed with ADHD, can they grow out of that ADHD by the time they're in their mid to late 20s? How does that work?
Yeah. So one of the myths of ADHD is there's a couple of myths. Boys, not girls. You tend to grow out of it. Only take your medicine when you think you need it. We know those are all not the best outcomes. We know that boys are more common when they're young, but as you become an adult, women are equally common with ADHD. We know that for most people, you're not going to grow out of it. 80 to 90% are going to continue to have some set of symptoms as they go into adulthood. So learning how ADHD affects your life so you can have the most successful life possible, learning where there's a good fit for your symptoms. If I stick you behind a boring desk and make you do that job all day with ADHD, it's going to be hard. But if I give you a job that's a little more interesting, maybe you're interacting with people, maybe you're doing what you're doing, where you're giving interviews to people and staying active, that may be a better fit for someone with ADHD. So learning about your condition, telling your clinician, hey, here's where I see difficulties in my life. Maybe it's at home with my wife in the evenings where I get frustrated because I'm disorganized and I'm just overwhelmed.
When we introduced you to the digital desk, we talked about this nationwide shortage that was it was announced back in the fall of last year. Do we still have this shortage? And my understanding is that there are so many people being diagnosed. How did the pandemic have an impact on the diagnosis of ADHD?
100%. So during the pandemic, as we were all sitting at home doing our jobs virtually, our kids were having to learn at home virtually. If you had problems with concentration and being distracted, it came up to the forefront. Everybody could see it. So parents were looking at their kids saying, God, I know the teachers brought this up, but now I see it with my kids. I need to get them some help. Parents themselves looked at themselves and they said, God, I'm overwhelmed with this. I've always been wired this way, but in this current digital world, this is just overwhelming. So the rates of ADHD and people coming in for help did go up during the pandemic. Then we had a fixed supply of medications out there. And that supply is probably not going to go up, especially the supply of short-acting stimulants. So if you have increased demand with a fixed supply, that led to a nationwide shortage.
Has that shortage gotten any better? Where are we on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it has not, especially with certain of them. Short-acting stimulants are in short supply all across the country. Here in Missouri, but if I went out to Washington, D.C., if I went to Baltimore, if I went to California, short-acting stimulants are in short supply, and they're probably going to stay that way. So that's made us all examine with our patients, are there other long-acting once-daily treatments that may help to manage your symptoms, may even be a better fit for your symptoms, because those medicines do tend to have a better supply these days.
Let's talk about those different options because, yeah, if the shortage is going to stick around a while, let's talk about different treatments.
Of course. So I'll just give you a bunch of names you may want to think about with your clinician. And once again, this is a personal choice with you and your clinician. We have a long-acting amphetamine called Vyvanse that still tends to have pretty good supply, and there's an even longer-lasting one called Mydayis that has long supply. We have various versions of Concerta. Some of those are generic, some of them are not. Some of those are available, some are a little harder to get a hold of. And then we have some methylphenidates that come in a beaded formulation called Focalin or Metadate that tend to be available right now. We have two non-stimulants for adults that tend to be available, both atenmoxetine and Qelbree. Both have pretty good supply all across the country. So I think those are some of the names you may think about. So we have shortages of some of the types of ADHD medicines, but we have other versions that are in pretty good supply.
You know, this has been an interesting interview, Doctor, and something that's revealing to so many out there. We have thousands of viewers each and every morning joining us here, and I know that either someone knows or has a friend or perhaps a family member with ADHD. Where can they go to get some more information on what we talked about and any other questions they may have?
I'll give you two resources. One is a group called CHADD, and CHADD makes a magazine once a month called Attitude. And CHADD is a group of patients that have ADHD that are advocates that put together these resources. So Attitude's a once a month magazine. In addition, APSARD, the organization that's a group of researchers, teachers, doctors, nurses, psychologists, apsard.org, has a lot of resources and can steer you in places to learn more about ADHD.
You know, this has been a great interview. Dr. Greg Mattingly, Associate Clinical Professor, Washington University, and we really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Americans, we disagree on so many issues. It's tough to find an issue that unites everyone. But there is, according to a new survey, one issue that unites everybody, and that is water. And we're talking about clean water. Not only clean drinking water, but protecting the water in our nation's lakes, streams, and rivers. Everyone wants that. All right, and let's talk a little bit more about ways to protect our water out there. I'm joined now by Jim Murphy. He's Director of Legal Advocacy at the National Wildlife Federation. Jim, good morning to you. What should people know about their water this week? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me. Water is, yeah, as you stated, something that unites everyone. The recent poll by the Walton Family Foundation found that more than 90% of Americans want clean water. They want clean water coming out of their taps, and they want clean water in the waters that are around us, the lakes, rivers, streams, and wetlands. The water that comes out of our taps starts on the landscape. It starts in wetlands, it starts in streams, and it's important to protect those. Unfortunately, last year, the Supreme Court rolled back protections that had been around since the early 70s for most of America's wetlands and millions of miles of streams.
So how do we protect our water? We have some of the best drinking water here in the country in Memphis. We have artesian wells. How do we protect that and just our rivers and streams too?
Well, the Clean Water Act for 50 years has done a great job of protecting our waters. People forget because it was a while ago, but we had rivers that were on fire. The Great Lakes were dead. And the Clean Water Act was passed to fix that, and it did a fantastic job for 50 years. So these rollbacks are really concerning. Protecting the wetlands and streams that feed into our larger rivers are very important for the health of those waters and for ensuring that when we turn on our tap, we can be confident that what we're drinking is safe and clean.
Is there a way that people can get involved, perhaps in their local community, or is there a place online?
The National Wildlife Federation at nwf.org has a ton of information about how you can get involved and how you can let members of Congress and your state and local leaders know that you value clean water. The Walton Family Foundation is also another fantastic resource for getting information on how you can take action to protect water in your community.
All right, Jim Murphy, National Wildlife Federation. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you for having me.
All right, another live look from our High Five camera in Midtown Memphis as we go to break. We're back in 60 seconds with your forecast.
At least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And the latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we could have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th and 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. And we go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees. Rain chances at a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plains states. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that it could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow, but still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday, better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night, Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk, asking for a raise from your boss. That is an intimidating idea, and certainly people are scared to do it. They don't want to do it. They feel shy about doing it. Well, let's talk more about this because we mentioned it earlier this morning. We are now joined live by the Vice President of Recruiter.com, Angela Copeland. Appreciate you joining us, Angela, and how are you?
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. And so, you know, the asking for that raise this time of year, it certainly can be intimidating for people. So let's get your best expert approach on on how to approach that topic with your boss?
Well, this is such an important topic. I'll be honest, there is not any topic I'm hearing about more than pay right now from job seekers, because as you've seen in the news, pay is really going up now more than it really ever has. Before you have the conversation with your boss, I think you've got to kind of have a conversation with yourself. And I'd say start really by evaluating your risk tolerance, because this is a conversation that can be risky. When you go in and you have it, if it doesn't go well, we have to remember that as much as we want to fight for the most amount of money, everyone is replaceable, and it is a risky conversation. So if you've got 4 kids at home, you may want to approach it a little differently than if you don't have, any of those external factors going on. But the best time really when you're ready to have the conversation is to have it during your annual performance evaluation. And that's something that's starting to happen right now with many companies. Companies are going through their review cycle, and it's a good time to sit down and talk about where you are today and kind of where you want to be going forward in your career.
No, that's a great approach, and that's certainly a great time to ask for it. But, even still, the whole conversation, can be kind of weird, as you said. It can be awkward for somebody, especially if you're not prepared. What's the best way to prepare for that kind of conversation?
So the preparation is a very important piece. And the great news is that there's more data online today about salaries than ever before, because many companies are actually posting their salaries with job listings. And also you can look at other sites where there's available information about how much different people are making in certain roles by certain companies. So you can go in with research to have an idea of what you think is really reasonable. And then I would talk about results. What are you bringing to the table? What is the value that you've provided in the last year? And how is your role evolving to some new level? You don't want to go in and say, I'd just like some extra money, because of course everybody would like some extra money, but you've got to show business-wise why it makes sense. And the other thing is, I'd really brace yourself, because oftentimes companies are not incentivized to give big raises. Like if you're thinking you want a 20% or a 30% raise, your current company is not incentivized to give that raise to you. The company that will likely give you a big raise is a different company. So you've got to keep in mind that if you're truly set on making more money, you may have to look outside the walls of your current company.
I like that idea. I like that approach: research, results, and the evolution of what you're doing for the company. Great approach there. What about timing wise? Because a lot of times, if someone says, well, I haven't been there long enough, I don't know if it's the right time to ask for it. Is there a certain amount of time that you should ask for a raise?
You ask a great question, because if I've just hired someone, right, and they come straight to me and they want more money, that sort of feels a little disingenuous. Like they've agreed to a certain rate and now they want more, and they haven't even really been there long enough to do what we've agreed to. But at the same time, I'm really seeing companies that are stepping up and giving employees raises today who've only been around for a few months, simply because there is so much turnover going on right now. So, personally, I'd wait at least a year before you start having those conversations if you're brand new. And I would talk about it not just in terms of money. I know financially that's really what you're trying to get out of it, but you want to talk about it in terms of your career path, in terms of the value that you're bringing the company. Like you want to make it make business sense to them. It can't just be a grab for money. But really the best time is during that performance evaluation, when you're really talking about how you've done in the last year and you're talking about planning for the future.
Makes sense, certainly. And then another one that people might get tripped up on is, how much do you ask for? What's a good way to approach that?
It's a good question. Sometimes you can get the company to actually give you a number. If you talk about, directionally how you want to, that you want to grow in the company, sometimes they'll have a number they're thinking of. But alternatively, look online and see what's fair in your industry, at your company, in your particular role, because you may find that, a few $1,000s will get you there. You may find that, it's a huge chunk of money. And I wouldn't say there's a certain percentage, but you want to go out and do your research on what really is the market rate. But keep in mind, again, if you're asking for, let's say, more than 10% at the very most, I think that's a tough ask for any company. Even if what you're saying makes sense, even if it's the market value, even if all the things make a lot of sense, if you go in and say, I want 50% more money to stay here, I think there is a good chance your boss is going to say, I'm sorry, we just can't do that. So you really want to reflect. And if you are looking for that kind of a big raise, you may just have to look somewhere else. And the good news is this is a great time to be looking. There are so many companies hiring, and they are paying more than they were in the past. So if you want to truly make a difference in your pay, switching companies is often the very best way to go.
I love that. I love that. More options out there for the employee for sure. So what about after you make this request? Let's say you get the gumption, you do it, you don't make it awkward, and they still say no. What then?
Well, it's a good question, because this is the thing. It gives you information. If they come back and say, no, we can't do it, it gives you the information you need, right? Like either the company cannot afford to pay their employees more, maybe the company is not in a good place, or maybe they don't value you the way that you feel they should, or maybe your manager just doesn't have a backbone. Like it could be any of those things, but you get this information by having the conversation, and then you have to make a decision. Are you comfortable to continue to stay and to continue to work at that same rate? Or do you want to look somewhere else and see if somebody else would be willing to pay you more? I think the one other alternative you might consider, especially if you work at a big company, is looking at other departments within that company, because you will find sometimes there might be one department that pays much more than another department. So if you feel like, man, I've just really maxed out in my area and I don't think my boss is going to be willing to go up any higher, perhaps you take that information and you start to even look, in other spots within your same organization.
All great advice, all great cues from you. Anything else that we can touch on regarding this topic, Angela, that we haven't mentioned already?
I think the biggest thing is go and do your research online. We are so fortunate that labor laws around salary are really changing, and they have been for probably 5 years or more. And what it creates is a situation of transparency. So if you aren't sure if you're underpaid, go online and do your research, because it is not hard to find out anymore. And those laws have changed really in an effort to create more equality within sort of the space of pay. And as an employee, you have every right to go out and do your research and decide if the amount of money that you're making works for you or doesn't work for you. So go and do your homework rather than, just wishing that someone would give you more money. And again, also remember that if you don't ask, you may not get any additional money. So asking is really the first step.
Great advice and insight as always. Angela Copeland, Vice President of Recruiter.com. Thanks very much. Appreciate all the info.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to tell you about May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's a great opportunity for all you parents out there to pay extra attention to how your kids are spending their time online. I'm the parent of 2 older teenagers, and it can be very challenging for so many parents out there to really kind of know where to go, what to do, what's too much, what's too little. It is a tough world out there for the kids and for the parents. Let's bring in someone who knows this topic fairly well. This is Titania Jordan, and she has written a best-selling book, Parenting in a Tech World. Titania, good morning. How are you?
Hi there. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you being here. So tell me about this book. I love the title, Parenting in a Tech World, and give me some of the underlying issues when it comes to mental health with our teens.
Well, our children are struggling in a way that no other set of children have struggled over the course of humanity. And a large part of it has to do with the screens that are in front of their faces upwards of 8 hours a day, and what's happening on those screens and the people and the issues they're encountering on those screens. And so the rate at which children are experiencing issues related to their mental health are skyrocketing, and we as parents are feeling completely overwhelmed. I can say this not only as the CMO of Bark and author of Parenting in a Tech World, but as the parent of a 14-year-old boy.
So So I'm looking at some of these stats here that you have on Bark Technologies 2022 annual report in Tennessee, and they're very startling, Titania. 52% of children in Tennessee involved in some sort of self-harm, suicide situation. 78.9, so almost 80% of children in Tennessee experience bullying, either as a victim or a witness. And something else all these, there's like 10 of them, but 77% engage in conversations surrounding drugs and alcohol. 75% almost encounter nudity and content of a sexual nature. As a parent, and our viewership is thousands right now. What do we tell parents to do?
So first of all, take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, and don't freak out, because it's hard and you're not alone and it's very overwhelming. The second thing to do is don't think not my child. Good kids make bad choices. Their frontal lobes of their brains, that's responsible for the decision-making aspects of their lives, aren't fully formed until their early 20s. And so we need to know it absolutely can be our kids. Good kids make bad choices. We need to be their safe place, right? If we freak out, yell, punish, etc., take away their access, their entertainment, their social sphere, it's not going to bode well for you. They're not going to open up to you, and they're not going to share with you when there are issues. So you need to understand it's happening, speak to them candidly, frequently, build that relationship with them. It's so critical, and it's so much different than when we were teenagers and with our parents. And then finally, know that most of the issues that are happening in their lives with them or their peers are buried deep within their digital signal. So utilize the free built-in parental controls that come with whatever tech they access. And then please take a look at monitoring solutions like Bark that can alert you when they have encountered these things.
Yeah, that's very interesting that there's that kind of technology out there. So you just said something, Bark Technologies that can alert you or a parent to some issues. Tell me how that works.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, a lot of times we are struggling with just how much time our kids are spending on screens. And many of us hopefully know how to implement time limits and filters, right? But a lot of us don't know that there is tech that can alert you when your child has encountered a bullying situation, an online predator, eating disorder related content, you name it. And that's Bark. So Bark uses AI, that's artificial intelligence, to connect to your children's devices and accounts, text, email, social media, YouTube, you name it, connects, analyzes, and then detects when there's a problem, sends you, the parent or caregiver, a text and an email letting you know, hey, here's what happened, and here's what you can do about it.
What else? So, what about other warning signs? What about other limits that you can put on them without saying, okay, you have no freedom? Because that's a big discussion. Oh, you're taking away my freedoms, blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely. And it's important to note that with Bark, we're not spying on everything or giving parents full access to their kids' everything, like reading a diary. We actually went about it in a way that gives children more privacy, because we're only alerting to the problems versus you having to go, get your kid's phone and look through every single thing. So that aside, Bark is a tool, much like a seatbelt or a helmet or sunscreen. It's only part of the equation. You as the parent need to pay attention to those early warning signs like changes in school performance, eating habit changes, increased irritability, inability to concentrate. If your children lose interest in activities or friends that they once loved, physical ailments without cause, like frequent stomach aches or headaches, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, and just general isolation from friends or teammates or family, those are all warning signs. You need to dig further, and don't hesitate to reach out to your child's pediatrician for advice.
That's a good point there, a good suggestion. With all the parents that are joining us here on our digital desk, if you were to give maybe 3 top priorities that they could do today, what would it be?
3 things that you can do today. 1, talk to your kids. Make sure they know you are a safe place. You may not agree with the things they say or the people they hang out with or the music they listen to, but you love them unconditionally and they can come and talk to you about anything. You will help them navigate this rocky road that is growing up in 2023. 2, don't think it's not your child and be their parent. Make sure you have implemented parental controls, screen time limits, filters, and parental monitoring like Bark so that you can get a handle on where they're spending the bulk of their time. And then 3, don't go it alone. There's a Facebook group called Parenting in a Tech World that you can join. It's free. It's on Facebook. It has over 300,000 parents in it. Join it and talk to parents just like me who can help you any time of the day or night.
I love how you spelled it out, Titania. Very simple, easy, user-friendly ideas. Is there a place, you mentioned the Facebook group, any other place that people can go to get some of these tips?
Absolutely. So in addition to the Facebook group, you can also go to bark.us. Everything's there.
Perfect. Okay, Titania Jordan, Chief Parent Officer, author of best-selling book, Parenting in a Tech World. Really appreciate you breaking it down. Such an important and necessary topic that we all need to hear. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The spirit industry is a nearly $200 billion industry, with Black Americans accounting for 12% of sales, but behind the glass, they make up less than 8% of the workforce. And in this industry, in order to change it, there is a company, it's called Pronghorn. It was founded by industry veterans with a sole focus of supporting and nurturing entrepreneurs and leaders in the Black spirits industry through direct funding and marketing support. Let's bring up a couple of founders of Pronghorn. I am joined now by Dia Sims and Aaron Harris, founders of Pronghorn. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
So tell me about the goals of launching Pronghorn and how are those goals being reached today? Good morning.
Hi, yes. So Pronghorn is a dedicated entity that focuses on diversifying the spirits industry. And we're starting with the Black community. And so our goal is to invest in over 60 Black-owned brands across a 10-year span and drive 1,800 employees into the spirits industry. So we named the company Pronghorn after the first fastest land animal in the USA, second fastest outside of our country, only to the cheetah, but in a marathon, the pronghorn will win every single time. And so what we know is that in order to close the wealth gap across America, we're going to need to go fast, but go for a long time. So like Dia always says, we're very impatient for change. How can we impact very quickly and create a systematic shift?
Okay, what kind of impact and what kind of industries are you affecting here in the Memphis region? We have plenty of entrepreneurs here. Are you guys in touch with some?
Yeah, so listen, we are actually here because we want to invite Memphis entrepreneurs. If you're
If you have an idea, even if it's just an idea, you have your idea for a gin, a vodka, a bourbon, please come on to pronghorn.co. We are helping with information, connections, cash, everything that you could need to be successful in this business. And as Aaron mentioned, there's almost 1,000 jobs open in this industry right now. Average salary is about $100,000. And we're responsible and we work hard, but we also have a great time. So we love to see more applicants coming in from Memphis to be entrepreneurs working at these great companies, or entrepreneurs where we can help you get your business up and running.
Okay, and tell me, how long have you guys been around, and what's been the feedback so far?
Oh, wow. We've been getting positive feedback. And just to let you know, we've been around for about 2 years. And in those 2 years, we've invested in over 23 brands. And of those brands, 9 of them are women founded and led. So shout out to Women's History Month this month, really focusing on full diversity and change.
And we have some of the brands here. They're available in Tennessee. You could go on to reservebar.com or pronghorn.co, but Antille or Tea Capri or Abisola Whiskey. Just some incredible brands with awesome credentials that make for a great margarita or a great old fashioned.
All right. Well, if people want to reach out, what's the best way to do it? Maybe perhaps a website online?
Yeah, go to www.pronghorn.co. www.pronghorn.co.
Okay. Appreciate it, ladies. Dia Sims, Aaron Hall, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, another live look from our High Five camera downtown, where it is a chilly 45 degrees at 10:31. We're back right after this in 60 seconds with your forecast.
At least when you look at it in a climatological standpoint. Now, from a weather standpoint, looks like we may stay warmer over the next couple of weeks. Latest freeze, April 25th, and this is why we say usually wait until after tax day for us to get past those last couple of possibilities in early April that we can get a freeze. And latest frost, actually May 5th. As we look at the broader perspective across the entire area, not everybody has the same last freeze. Actually, some of our easternmost communities, Bolivar, Selmer, Holly Springs, and Oxford, all have latest freezes in early April. So it is possible that we can have these chilly temperatures. March 18th in Clarksdale, March 22nd, Helena, West Helena, March 23rd, West Memphis here in Memphis, the 18th and 28th in Covington, and 25th in Dyersburg. And of course, we're moving into the spring season officially again, 10:06 p.m. tonight. And we go into the first day of spring tomorrow, first full day of spring, with an average high of 66. And we go up from there, 73 to 82 by May and 89 by June. You know the drill. This is a transition season that is on the upward swing all the way from now until the summer months. Beautiful shot here. This is a recent sunset in Fayette County from Kevin Johnson. Of course, we love seeing your pictures. You can send them in on actionnews5.com or also on Action News 5's First Alert Weather app. You can upload the pictures right there. Send us your location as well as your name so we can show off your beautiful location. Of course, this is from Rossville. High today in Rossville with a lot of sunshine, 59 degrees, rain chances, and a big old goose egg. We will get a chance for an isolated shower possibly as we head into the late portion of your Wednesday, but getting up to near 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s, which is pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Middle 60s, in fact, as we head towards Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, as we get a little better chance for rain to move in here as we go into the latter half of your Thursday, heading into Friday. And that comes by way of an area of low pressure coming out of the Plain States. There's still some iffiness in how this all plays out. You know, we've been talking about how if the low tracks a little farther to the south, closer to the Gulf Coast along the I-10 corridor, we may miss out completely on a lot of rainfall. We are still looking at it getting close enough to us that it could still sling back some moisture into the area, but it should be exiting as we get into the early portions of Saturday. Saturday actually ends up being a pretty nice day, so if you have weekend plans, I think you're in good shape. And there's a lot going on across the Mid-South as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, I will also let you know on the extended forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can look at the 10-day forecast there. Just beyond the 7-day, there's chances for rain that will take us into the early portions of next week as a very broad storm system moves into the region late Monday heading into Tuesday of next week. And again, you can get the weather information anytime, everywhere, right there in the palm of your hand using that First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Upon the 7-day, a high near 60 today. Winds still a little aggressive out of the south and west, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll top out near 70 as we get the winds to calm down tonight into tomorrow, but still a nice day, a lot of sunshine. Clouds will start to thicken up. We might get a quick shower actually overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We'll go with a 20% rain chance on Thursday, better rain chances overnight Thursday into Friday. We may need to adjust the rain chances a little bit for Friday depending on the timing and how quickly this moves in and out of the area, with highs in the mid-60s there, mid-60s on Saturday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. Palm Sunday near 70, and as I mentioned in the extended 10-day forecast, just beyond the 7-day, there's a better chance for rain. We got a 30% rain chance for Monday. Looks like just beyond this going into Monday night, Tuesday of next week, better chances for rain and storms as that broad storm system makes presence into the region.
Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. According to some brand new data released by SEMrush, over the last 2 years, there has been a huge surge in Americans wanting to turn their passion projects into paychecks, you know, their side hustles into full-time money. And the data reveals that since January 2020, a 421% increase in searches for side hustles to make money. Now, we're about to talk to someone about this very issue, about how she turned her side hustle into a full-time job making 6 figures. Joining me now is Megan Overholt. And Megan, good morning. How are you?
Morning. It's Morgan, by the way, Morgan Overholt.
Morgan, I'm so sorry. I appreciate you joining
No problem.
us. So tell me about your story a little bit, because so many people, as you're right, so many people have decided, you know, hey, what can I do as a side hustle to make full-time income?
Yeah, well, I was actually kind of the lucky one of the lucky ones, to be honest with you. I am no stranger to reinventing myself. Back in 2017, I actually quit my full-time job in the normal corporate world back before it was popular. Essentially rage quit, had all the fun I could stand, got to do something else. But back then, all I really knew to turn to was freelance. And that was a lot better than what I was doing. Do not get me wrong, but the problem is that freelance is still inherently flawed because it still requires that your butt is in that seat every single day and that you're like on the clock and you have deadlines to meet, you've got clients you need to reply to all the time. And it wasn't quite giving me that freedom that I really craved. I had toyed before with the idea of launching something that could produce real live passive income in addition to my freelance before, but I never really took the leap until the pandemic hit. The pandemic, as a lot of y'all know, was inspiring for reinvention. So while I wasn't a stranger to it, I still was very new to the world, had no idea what I was doing, learned from the best, and here we are today. In fact, last year, our second full year in business, we surpassed 6 million page views on thesmokies.com, which is our travel blog website, and we produced over $200,000 worth of revenue. So it's pretty incredible.
That is incredible, and congratulations to you for doing all that. I have to admit, I did those searches too, and I heard that blogging is one of those great opportunities out there for people to get started and really kind of turn it into a money-making career. How did you do it? If you had to look at some of the key factors of turning that blog into a six-figure income, how did you do it?
Well, honestly, again, I'm no stranger to figuring out how to reinvent myself and how to launch a successful company. And one of the key things, and I think this applies to every single industry and anything that you want to do in life really, is that you identify the person who's doing the thing that you really want to do, who's doing it successfully, I should add, and you learn what they're doing. And so what we did is we started joining all of these blogging communities online and really looking at people who were already making six-figure, even seven-figure incomes. And we asked, hey, what are you guys doing? And two words kept coming up for us. It was SEO and SEMrush. And at the time I was familiar with what SEO was. I thought it was just kind of like sprinkling in little keywords on your website and hoping for the best, hoping you'll rank on Google. But SEMrush was kind of the missing component because I found out, news to me, that there are real tools you can use online that actually tell you exactly what people are looking for. It tells you what kinds of questions that people are typing into Google on a daily basis. And so our real key to success was figuring out exactly what those questions were and then answering those questions effectively. And the second that we started doing that, our traffic skyrocketed. It was incredible. I think on like month one, went from having maybe a couple hundred hits to just a few months later, I think June of 2020, that same year, like I said, the pandemic year, I think we're about like 300,000, 400,000 hits. It was crazy. And it kept growing from there. So a pretty big deal. Pay attention to what other people are doing and do that thing.
That does sound amazing, and that's great stuff. When it comes to turning it, when you saw, okay, so you did the SEO, looking for what search items people are looking for. Did you have to write a lot? Because I've always heard that okay, if I'm going to start a blog, I just have to put tons of writing in. I mean, how many hours did you spend in the front end of this project?
Well, here's the really cool thing. So luckily, again, we were some of the lucky ones in the pandemic. We really only had about like a week or two that was kind of slow, which is really when I launched the website in partnership with my sister, Elena, and my husband, James. But after that, our freelance business really picked up and we looked at each other and we're like, hey, look, we got to find time to also work on this website without losing our, at the time, primary income, which was the freelance income. And so we kind of just dedicated one day a week to knocking out as many articles as we possibly could. And we did it that way for an entire year, essentially. Almost an entire year, I didn't have a 2-day weekend. I mean, look, y'all, anything worth having in life is going to take a little bit of hard work. That's what I tell people all day long. Nothing in this life worth having is going to be that easily achievable. So I would say as far as quantifiable hours were concerned, I would say we were each putting in about 8 to 10 hours a week to really get it going. And now as it's been growing, we've been able to really integrate it into our normal work weeks. In fact, it's sort of even taken over a lot of the freelance that we were doing before. The script is kind of flipped now. Before we were doing like 25% blogging. Now it's more like 75% blogging and 25% freelance, which is pretty cool. But the great thing about what we've done is that it did exactly what I set out to do, right? Now, when I take a day off, I'm still making money. Now, when I go on a week vacation, I still get notifications every day that I'm making money. So that passive income, or more accurately, perhaps I should refer to it as semi-passive, because it still requires a lot of work to get it up and going. It's not a set it and forget it type thing, but it's still making me money even if I step away. And that's really the freedom that I've craved from day one, right? That's the ultimate freedom. What more can you possibly ask for?
So you said 8 to 10 hours a week is generally how much you spent on the blog. When did you start seeing significant income jumps? I mean, did it start at, I don't know, 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000, and then just 1 month or two just jumped from there?
Yeah, like I said before, it was really identifying that correct tool to use. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what SEO is. Everybody will love to tell you they can get you on the first page of Google. It's just like some kind of magic thing. I thought I knew what SEO was as a freelance graphic designer because my clients asked for it all the time. I thought it was just sprinkling in keywords, but the key was using those 8 to 10 hours that I was talking about earlier effectively, right? Because at one point when we first launched, we were just kind of taking a guess. Like, I always thought the way that you were supposed to do it, or was the way that you were supposed to do it. But after we really started finding the correct tools, and for us, it was SEMrush, and that's kind of one of the industry leading platforms out there if you guys want to look into it. But one of the things that we did was we actually started doing the research, and that showed us specifically what we should be writing. And that's when we really started to see things kind of skyrocket from there, right? So instead of just using those 8 to 10 hours every week that we had to take guesses at what people may or may not like, what Google may or may not like, we were able to really hone in and make sure that this is what people were looking for, make sure this is what people would like, because it turns out the data was really there all along. So for us, it was learning to use that time efficiently and intelligently and making database decisions versus just what we wanted to write about. And that's really when we started to see the results skyrocket. And I would say within a couple of months of adopting that strategy, that's when we really saw things start to take off.
When you first did the blog, Morgan, was it something where you were getting income one way, and then now are you getting income another way? Give me some detail on how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the other funny thing. When we first launched, we had absolutely no idea how blogs made money. To tell you the truth, probably like most Americans, I thought blogs were something that we had back in the GeoCities days in the 90s or the early 2000s. I had no idea that they were still a thing that was capable of producing income. It was actually my husband, who was one of my partners on the blog, who discovered an ad network called AdThrive and Mediavine, or two different ad networks called AdThrive and Mediavine. It took a few weeks to get accepted into those programs. Today we started out with Mediavine, switched to AdThrive, but there's a variety out there. Those are just two of the top dogs essentially. But once we got there, we were able to really tap into this programmatic ad network, which produced this incredible revenue every single day. So when you go to our website, if you type in thesmokies.com, you're going to see that there's a ton of ads that pop up. And that's kind of what that programmatic ad network is providing us. That's where most of our income has come from. But there's also this wide world of affiliate sales, right? So for instance, we are a travel blog. There's a lot of attractions in the area near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, like Dollywood and Anakista, and a variety of museums like the Titanic Museum out there that have these programs that you can enter called affiliate programs, where you help them sell a ticket online by like writing a great review about them or saying, hey, look, I highly recommend doing X, Y, and Z in the Smokies. And if people click the link when you suggest to buy a ticket, you get a little tiny kickback. And so we did ads first, we did affiliate marketing second, and going forward, we're actually going to be doubling down on the affiliates, and we hope to release some digital downloads later this year. But there's a variety of different ways that bloggers make money. Those are just kind of a handful of the ones that worked for us very early on. And of course, there's so many more that I feel like we can tap into in the future. So I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes. I think we're just getting started.
That sounds great. I mean, congratulations once again. You're doing such a great job, Morgan. And I think this is helping a lot of people just kind of understand how it works. A couple more questions here. So, how much do you make now? If you don't mind me asking, how much does the blog make now on a monthly basis? And then how much did it, initially start? Because you didn't start right away making six figures. It was a gradual increase. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I remember we made our first $6 within about a month of launching the actual blog site. And we were jumping up and down the living room like it was the most important $6 we had ever made in our life. A couple months later, the first month, and that was an affiliate sale. A couple months later, the first month after we launched on an ad network, I believe our first month's earnings were something like $400 or $500, if memory serves correctly. Fast forward to today, I believe our largest month to date, and of course it varies as we are a seasonal travel blog. The Smokies are a little bit less trafficked in like January and February. We peak in the summer and into the winter, but our highest month so far has been around $36,000 in that month. So yeah, that kind of shows you what's possible. And we suspect we're going to be hitting closer to $50,000, maybe even $60,000 by this December. So yeah, like I said, we're just getting started.
Wow.
To go from zero hits in the first month, essentially, to, I believe in our first full year, we passed almost hit 2 million. And then in our second full year to pass 6 million. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping that we'll start to see that 10 million digit roll in as far as page views are concerned, hopefully in 2022. We'll see. We'll at least get close.
And it's just focusing on the East Tennessee Smokies area, or are you venturing out from that?
Yes, sir. For the most part, of course, the Smokies, the Smokies and the Blue Ridge Mountains were all kind of intertwined, as you know, in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. So we sort of cover those areas a little bit. Every once in a while, we talk about Tennessee as a state, but our primary market, we've also done a few stories on Memphis, but our primary market is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and the surrounding areas, the attractions, etc. That was also a model that we had never really seen anybody else do before. So that was a bit of a gamble, to be perfectly honest with you. We didn't really know that a regional travel blog would work. All you ever hear about are, travel bloggers that go all over the world and explore. But to us, we kind of learned that regional travel was even better, even, I dare say, easier. I don't want to use that word. It's been a lot of hard work, but I dare say easier because we get to target this one area that we know and we love. I grew up in East Tennessee. My husband grew up in East Tennessee. My little sister obviously grew up in East Tennessee. So this is an area that we're intimately familiar with. This is an area that we spent our childhood in. I mean, y'all, if you could have told me when I was like 6 that one day I would make money going to Dollywood, I'd have been like, what? It's like, that's not even my dream, and I've essentially turned that dream into a reality. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool. All right. So are there other blogs that you look at and really kind of like or maybe take some ideas from? I mean, are there other ones that you kind of emulate maybe and kind of say, they really taught me a lot of things?
That's one of the tools I was talking about earlier when I talk about SEO. The tool that I mentioned earlier, SEMrush, will actually show you competitive data. And we certainly integrate that competitive data and fill in gaps that our competitors are not addressing, fill in questions that our competitors are not answering. In fact, our main competitors now are actually some of the city and locally run websites. And I believe it was last month, we even started surpassing some of those city-run websites who have entire staffs. I think over 40, 50 people, I believe, for the top website working on those. So to bring in more traffic than even them, it's pretty impressive. But to be honest with you, if I were to give you a second giant piece of advice, which is applicable to both blogging and life, is to worry less about what your competitors are doing and worry more about what they're not doing, right? We never seek to copy anybody. I've never been a copycat of anybody. I want to know what I want to know how they're finding success. I want to know the strategies and the tools that they're using and explore those on my own. But I think it's really important to be the red tree in the forest, to be the standout, to do something unusual. Because if you're just a copycat, all you're going to be is a cheap clone at the end of the day.
Very nice, very nice. There are a lot of people taking notes in this newsroom, just hearing you talk right now. And I'm sure when people watch this in a taped interview later on our website, they're going to be wanting to share this as well. When someone is looking at starting a blog, I don't know, can you give like maybe the top 3 things that they need to do right off the bat when they want to start and say, I want to do just what Morgan is doing? A lot of people like to say, write what you know. Is that one of those things? Did you always like to travel?
Oh yeah, I've always loved to travel, but to me, it's a little bit, there's two different components to it. A lot of people say follow your passion, and I say that's great. Follow your passion, but make sure you can make money with that passion, right? We've got a lot of passion. There are several hobbies I have that I'm not very good at, right? I don't think I should probably start a blog on those. There's a lot. I love watching Netflix for a living. There's probably a way to make money doing that, but the thing is that we found a part of our passion. We found one of our passion projects that we knew there was a big audience for. And so that's the piece of advice I would give you there as far as following your passion. Follow your passion, but make sure it makes money. As far as the three pieces of advice I would give to brand new bloggers would be as follows. Don't get lost in the details. Launch a simple website. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing you've ever seen. Just make sure it's a simple theme. Make sure it's fast. That's what's more important because people want to make sure it's loading really quickly without any kind of delays. The second thing I would say is, yes, get comfortable with writing and get comfortable using those tools that I talked about, because that was the real difference maker for us. Before, we were just sort of, when we first launched, writing whatever we thought we should write about because we had no data to go on, formatting it however we wanted to format it because we didn't know any better. So research those tools that will really give you those guidelines to show you exactly how to write, will actually give you a score on your writing and predict with almost 90% certainty exactly where you're going to rank on Google, which is pretty awesome. And then 3, make sure you turn that traffic into dollars. That's of course what you got to do at the end of the day. So research those ad networks that I mentioned earlier, research those affiliate programs, can think about what kind of digital downloads that you can sell. Those are 3 of the most popular ways. Courses, if you're doing something more on the business side, those are also very popular right now, online courses. So yeah, those are probably the 3 things that I would recommend. Don't get lost in the details, build a simple website, learn how to write articles that Google will love and that your readers will love, and then figure out how to make the money, honey.